Warrior Lore. Chapter 22:18. A thunderous voice resounded through the void as a figure descended. There was not much fluctuation in his aura, but when he appeared, it attracted many gazes as if they were struck by lightning. The newcomer's clothes were shabby, and he looked about the same as Fuibai. However, at this moment, he was one with the void, causing everyone to tremble. Crazy old man! Someone in the desolate country's army exclaimed. It was Crazy Old Man, Ouyang Shuang's master, an unfathomable expert. North Addict. When Crazy Old Man appeared, Qin Tiangu, Long Wangu, Gong Sunjiang, and Deng Huang's expressions changed again. Gong Sunjiang, if you have the ability, then try it today. Don't say that I'm not being courteous. Crazy Old Man looked straight at Gong Sunjiang and pointed at him. There was a terrifying majesty about him, as if he was a completely different person. North Addict, don't go too far. Back then, even the Lord of the 3,000 Worlds and the Dragon God were not as arrogant as you. Gong Sunjiang's expression was extremely gloomy. He was a dignified ancestor who had just come out of the eternal tomb, yet someone was pointing at him like this. This was not something that could be easily tolerated. Do you really think that you're so powerful? If it wasn't for the demon god escaping here, you wouldn't even be qualified to mention the Lord of the 3,000 Worlds and the Dragon God's name. Now, you dare to harm the people chosen by the 3,000 Worlds? Do you really think that no one can stop you? Do you believe that I won't destroy your orthodoxy here? Crazy Old Man said, not putting Gong Sunjiang in his eyes at all. North Addict, don't go too far. Don't forget that this is not the upper world. Here, you can't be that strong. If you really want to fight, you'll pay the price. Gong Sunjiang gloomily glared at Crazy Old Man and said coldly, moreover, when the demon god recovers, he won't let the 5 of you go. I can destroy your orthodoxy here right now. Try it if you don't believe me. Crazy Old Man said domineeringly. Gong Sunjiang was left speechless. He was truly afraid. North Addict and the others had no backing. If they wanted to destroy the house of Zongheng, there was no way he could stop them. With that, Crazy Old completely ignored Gong Sunjiang. He stared straight at Qin Tiangu and roared, Qin Tiangu, you're quite bold, aren't you? You even dared to touch my disciple's son-in-law. That's enough reason for me to wipe out your legacy here. North Qi, when did I touch your disciple's son-in-law? Qin Tiangu was very depressed. His face was very gloomy. When did he know Bei Qi's son-in-law? Everyone knows that Du Xiaofu is the fiancé of my disciple, Little Shuang. Naturally, he's my disciple's son-in-law. You're quite bold, aren't you? Crazy Old Man spoke in a strange tone with a gloomy expression. Disciple's son-in-law. Qin Tiangu was stunned and his eyes twitched. If that was true, then Bei Qi's son-in-law was indeed not someone he could casually touch. He was not afraid of anyone in this world, but East Deity, Nanru, Xiao and North Addict were definitely not people he wanted to provoke. He knew the background of these 5 people, and he could not afford to offend them. The reinforcements are here. A top expert is coming. The army of Huang country was excited. Is that Little Shuang's master? He's a terrifying expert. Southguarding King Ouyang Qi was pleasantly surprised. He had already known that his granddaughter had become a disciple of a super expert, but this was the first time he had seen it. Judging from the current situation, Ouyang Shuang's master was an existence that even the ancient experts of the legalism and House of Zongheng were afraid of. Middle Deity, North Addict, Fuibai and Crazy Old Man are the Middle Deity and North Addict. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was still in deep shock. Fuibai and Crazy Old Man were actually the Middle Deity and North Addict of the 5 mysterious experts. How could this not shock Du Xiaofu? Then, something that shocked Du Xiaofu even more occurred. While Du Xiaofu was still in shock from Fuibai and Crazy Old Man, Du Tingxian withdrew his Divine Thunder Armor and Divine Thunder Spear. He took a step forward and respectfully looked at Fuibai while kneeling on one knee in the air. He bowed and said, back then, Master said that if this disciple could step into the Saint Martial realm within 200 years, then this disciple would barely have the qualifications to enter your sect. Today, this disciple is fortunate enough to step into the Saint Martial realm in 200 years. nirvana of a grand sovereign and stepping into the Saint Martial realm within 50 years. This is passable in the eyes of the upper echelons. From now on, I will acknowledge you as my personal disciple. Fu Yibai spoke with a deadpan expression, but he couldn't hide the satisfaction in his eyes as he looked at Du Tingxian. Nirvana of a grand sovereign, possessing the lightning martial vein, and stepping into the Saint Martial realm within 50 years. Such talent was definitely enough to compete for supremacy in the upper echelons. How could Fu Yibai not be secretly happy? If this was brought to the upper echelons, it would be enough for him to be in the limelight. Master, Fu Yibai is the master of drunkard dad. Du Xiaofu was stunned and dumbfounded. He was so shocked that he couldn't retract his jaw for a long time. Fu Yibai was actually the master of drunkard dad. What? Fu Yibai is third uncle's master. Fu Yibai is Ting Xuan's master. Everyone in the Du family was dumbfounded and shocked. No wonder Ting Xian was able to rise. So it was because of Fu Yibai. An old man in the Du family seemed to have understood something and trembled. Gong Sunjiang, Long Wangu, Deng Huang, Hui Wu, Long Qianchao, and Su Sanyin were also dumbfounded. They didn't expect Du Xiaofu to be Bei Qi's son-in-law and Du Tingxian to be the disciple of Zhongtong god Fu Yibai. At this moment, Qin Yunlong was even more dumbfounded. Qin Tiangu and the rest of the supremes of legalism were being held in the hands of Zhan Qingchun. Legalism was against Han Aodong and Du Tingxian back then because they felt that nameless juniors in the outside world were just ants. If they could form a marriage alliance with the school of vertical and horizontal, it would strengthen legalism. But if they knew that Du Tingxian was the disciple of an expert like Zhongtong god Fu Yibai, they wouldn't have objected back then. It was simply what they wished for. Even if they knew that Du Tingxian could enter the Saint Martial realm within 50 years, legalism wouldn't have done so. Qin Tiangu, Long Wangu, Gong Sunjiang, and the rest were dumbfounded. Zhongtong god and Bei Qi were here. Not to mention protecting that descendant and the person chosen by the ruler of the 3,000 worlds. Even if Du Tingxian was the inner disciple of Zhongtong god and Du Xiaofu was Bei Qi's son-in-law, they wouldn't be able to touch them today. Everyone was still in a daze. At this moment, Fu Yibai was extremely unnatural, but he still arrived in front of Du Xiaofu. That domineering and serious face with the temperament of a peerless expert squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying at Du Xiaofu. He revealed his yellowed front teeth and said with a warm and friendly voice, "Big brother, I'm not late, am I?" Qin Tiangu was dumbfounded. Long Wangu was dumbfounded. Gong Sunjiang was dumbfounded. At this moment, the entire place was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Chapter 22:19. Many people were no longer surprised. Back in the Divine Thunder Mountain Range and outside the Divine Domain, the mysterious Fu Yibai had already called the Demon King Du Xiaofu Big Brother. However, most of the people present had never been to the Divine Thunder Mountain Range, especially Qin Tiangu, Long Wangu, and the others. They were dumbfounded to the extreme, and their star-like eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. At this moment, the expression on Du Tingxuan's face was also extremely unnatural. He wished he could beat Du Xiaofu up. Coo, the old monster green fox had quietly put away his green light sky-shattering fox body. Watching the scene unfold in front of him one after another, his throat was boiling, and he kept swallowing his saliva. At this moment, the old monster green fox couldn't help but secretly rejoice that he hadn't run away. He didn't expect that apart from the golden-winged great rocks and phoenixes, the Demon King Du Xiaofu actually had so many terrifying experts behind him. He had heard of the names of the central deity and the northern addict before. They were related to some of the secrets of the current world. They were terrifying existences that were enough to make Qin Tiangu and Long Wangu fear. "I'm not late. Just in time." Du Xiaofu felt rather helpless at this moment. If he had known that Fu Yibai was so tyrannical back then, he wouldn't have made that bet with him. However, when he thought of how Fu Yibai was so powerful that even Qin Tiangu had to be wary of him, he pretended to be a fool in the Du family and fooled Du Xiaofu for so long. When he saw his disciple's family being separated, he did not even ask about it. Du Xiaofu was furious. This old fellow was too deceitful. "It's good that you're fine." Fu Yibai smiled at Du Xiaofu embarrassedly. Greetings, Grandmaster. Du Xiaojing bowed to Fu Yibai. Han Aodong also bowed slightly, retracting the shock in her eyes. She also didn't know about this matter. Good. It's good that the family is reunited. Fu Yibai nodded with a smile in his eyes. However, when he looked at Du Xiaofu, the smile on his face became somewhat unnatural. With a serious expression, he said, "Big brother, let the people from the desolate country return first. You have to come with us. There are some things we need to discuss with you." Du Xiaofu glanced at the legalism sky city behind him. The legalism disciples were all trembling in fear. He stared coldly at Qin Tiangu, Long Wangu, and the others. They don't dare to move. Otherwise, there will be people who won't be polite. Fu Yibai's gaze swept across Qin Tiangu and the rest. His voice seemed to have been purposely spoken, and when it landed in Qin Tiangu and the rest's ears, it sounded extremely ugly. "Zhong Tongshan, are you deliberately going against us?" "Deng," he said with a gloomy expression. "I don't believe that you've recovered. You've been here for so long. You've probably been affected even more than we were in the Tomb of Eternity. It seems like you want to give it a try. I'll give you a chance." Fu Yibai turned around and looked at Deng Ming with his hands behind his back. There was a strange splendor in his eyes. "All right, let's give it a try." Deng Ming gritted his teeth. As soon as he finished speaking, his figure soared into the sky. A pair of huge illusory silver wings spread out from his back. They were suffused with white light and mist that spread across the void. Although the wings were illusory, they seemed to have materialized. They carried the power of heaven and earth and a mighty saint aura. In an instant, a gale rose and dark clouds gathered. Astral winds wreaked havoc, and the earth quaked. Boom! Deng Ming struck out with his palm. The heavens collapsed, the earth cracked, and a gale rose. The sky was vast and mighty, blooming with divine light. The world trembled as if it was about to collapse. Such a palm enveloped the world and made all living beings palpitate. Even Du Xiaofu, who was standing behind Fu Yibai, was secretly trembling in the face of such a palm. Such strength was far from what Qin Minglong and the others could compare to. But at this moment, Fu Yibai stood in the void. His tattered robe fluttered, and his white hair fluttered like a bird's nest. He was calm and unmoved like a boulder. But in the next instant, Fu Yibai advanced instead of retreating with his feet in the void. His figure soared into the sky, radiating with boundless light and a monstrous aura. Below him, the 1,000-foot-tall city walls of Sky City were uprooted and shattered in midair. Boom! As Fu Yibai rushed in front of Deng Ming, he struck out with a fist. Radiance blotted out the sky as it collided with the former's palm. Boom! Such a collision made one's soul feel as if it was about to explode. The sound was so loud that it was like endless heavenly thunder. Blazing runes and Saint Aura spread out and filled the void as supreme energy surged and swept across. The world turned upside down as Sky City continued to collapse. The void turned blurry as the sky planes collapsed. Abyss-like cracks on the ground interweaved like spider webs and tore the canyon apart. Such a scene of destruction was incomparably terrifying and shocking. Such supreme energy swept across and shook the universe. It was as if the stars in the 9 heavens were about to be shaken down. The void collapsed as the plains turned into fine powder. Sky City had a great array covered in talismans and mysterious runes, but it couldn't stop such terrifying fluctuations. All the buildings and towers were destroyed and turned into ruins. Many miserable cries could be heard. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Deng Ming's body was pushed back in a straight line and shattered the void. Fu Yibai's body only swayed slightly, but his expression was calm. So powerful. Du Xiaofu was overwhelmed with emotions. At this time, Fu Yibai and the old lunatic appeared again to help him and force back those ancient experts. How could he not be excited? Seeing Deng Ming being pushed back, Qin Tiangu, Long Wangu, and the others trembled inwardly as their eyes flickered. "Whoever dares to bully my disciple and his son, I will kill them. If there are people in the same realm who can kill them, it's because their cultivation is not high enough. I have nothing to say," Fu Yibai said, his voice shaking the surroundings. Then, He ignored Qin Tiangu and the others and looked at Du Xiaofu behind him. Follow me. The others can go back first. Okay, wait for me. Du Xiaofu nodded. This was already the best result. Then, he said to his mother and Du Xiaojing, Mother, Xiaojing, let's go home. Let's go home. Han Aodong nodded, her face full of smiles. The family of four left Sky City. Legalism's densely packed gazes were fixed on them. They didn't dare to open their mouths and trembled because of it. Qin Tiangu's expression was gloomy. The corner of his mouth twitched, but he didn't dare to open his mouth. Welcome, Empress Dowager. Welcome, First Princess. On the warship, the desolate country's army saluted. Their voices converged and soared into the sky. It's good that you're back. The family is finally reunited. Some of the elders of the Du family had tears in their eyes. The family was finally reunited. Grandmother, godmother, little star, Du Xiaoqing rushed in front of Han Aodong and intimately held Han Aodong's arm. Annie, Sister Xiaojing, Auntie, Sister Xiaojing, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Du Shui, Du Hao, Du Gue, Du Yu, and the others walked up. Go home. Your family is still waiting for you. The elders of the Du family walked up. Their bodies were trembling and their noses were sour. Okay. Han Aodong didn't know what to say. She just kept smiling. She looked at Du Xiaoqing and little Xingxing beside her. Looking at everyone in front of her, she smiled and smiled. Her eyes started to moisten. Chapter 22:20. Mother, I'll leave this person to you. Du Xiaofu went to Zhen Qingchu inside and took the High Lord of Legalism from Zhen Qingchun to his mother Han Aodong's side. The High Lord of Legalism's face was pale. He had yet to recover from his shock at the scene before him. Du Tingxian was actually the disciple of a mid-divine conduit. There were so many strong cultivators behind the Legalism family. In just a few decades, the desolate country had become so powerful that it could crush its peers. Han Aodong said to Du Xiaofu, Xiaofu, let go of him. He is your grandfather after all. Du Xiaofu hesitated for a moment, then released the seal on the High Lord. At this moment, the High Lord of Legalism was stunned. He looked at Du Tingxian, Du Xiaofu, the green fox monster, Huolei Zi, and the others. His heart trembled. Father, let's go back, Han Aodong said to the High Lord of Legalism. Aodong, are you really going to leave with them? If you leave, you'll be unfilial. The High Lord of Legalism stared at Han Aodong, his eyes twitching. Father, I'm unfilial. Let's go back. Han Aodong looked calm. If you leave with them today, don't even think about stepping into the door of legalism in the future. From now on, you're no longer a member of legalism. You'll be expelled from legalism. We'll sever all ties as father and daughter. The High Lord of Legalism said with a gloomy face. Fine, I'm unfilial. From now on, I'll no longer be a disciple of legalism. As Han Aodong's voice fell, pain flashed through her eyes. Light flashed in her hand, and a lock of hair behind her head was cut off. She said, We'll sever all ties as father and daughter as well. I'll repay you for raising me in my next life. In this life, I'll pretend that I don't have a daughter like Aodong. As her voice fell, the hair in Han Aodong's hand turned into ashes. She then knelt in the air and respectfully kowtowed 3 times to the High Lord of Legalism. Then, she kowtowed 3 times in the direction of Sky City. Ha 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 ha. The High Lord of Legalism sneered, his face twitching. He didn't expect his daughter to really want to sever all ties and leave legalism. 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 Of legalism. Do you really think you can leave legalism so? You? Legalisms. Do you really think legalism? Legalism? Legalism. Legalism is legalism. Legalism art? S's. Legalisms. Legalism. S is. Legalisms. Legalism. S's. Legalism bang. With a muffled thud, the sovereign of legalism was sent flying like a kite with a broken string. He spat out a mouthful of blood and flew towards Sky City. Boom. Legalism's body fell to the ground outside Sky City's walls, causing the earth to shake and the ground to crack. Ao Tong spared your life once in my son's hands. Just now, for Ao Tong's sake, I spared your life again. You can consider it as me repaying my parents' kindness. From now on, she has nothing to do with legalism, Du Tingxian said. He was the one who had attacked just now. Purple lightning flashed in his eyes. The body of the Lord of Legalism crawled out from the pile of rubble. He was covered in blood, and his face was pale. He raised his head and looked at Du Tingshuan's family with resentment. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything more and swept his gaze around. Fortunately, there was no danger today. Senior Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, Fui Bai, and the old lunatic had arrived. Many thanks, Senior. Du Xiaofu bowed to Senior Heavenly Wood Divine Tree. He was grateful. He had already received its help several times. This favor was not ordinary. No need to be so polite. It's fine as long as you're fine. The Heavenly Wood Divine Tree nodded with a smile. He knew that even if he hadn't come, the desolate country would still be fine. That Central Connection God and North Addict must have already paid attention to this place. Afterward, Du Xiaofu told little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Shen Qingchun, Yi Lao, and Du Yunlong. He transmitted his voice to the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree and Huarlazi to protect the desolate country's people and return to the desolate country first. There will always be a time to settle some scores with a famous family. The Heavenly Wood Divine Tree looked at Deng Ai, its green eyes filled with coldness. Hearing this, Hui Wu's face darkened. Back then, he was the one who did it. He didn't expect that Fang Jijia still had survivors. Now that the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree had come out of the Heavenly Devil battlefield, it was a great disaster for a famous family. Deng Ming's expression was very ugly. He didn't say anything. He hadn't interfered in the matter back then. At that time, he had already entered the Eternal Tomb, but he naturally knew what the Heavenly Wood Divine Tree was talking about. He also knew that Fang Jijia would definitely not let this matter rest. Boom! The vast ancient battlefield surged. The desolate country's army rushed onto the warships, shaking the void. Then, Huarlazi, Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, and the old monster Green Fox left. Legalism's disciples, Qin Tiangu, Su Sanyan, Long Wangu, and Deng Ai watched Huarlazi and the others leave. Their eyes trembled, but no one dared to say anything. Let's go. Fui Bai's figure flickered as he left with the old lunatic. Du Xiaofu raised his head and looked at Qin Tiangu, Deng Ai, Long Wangu, and Gong Sunjiang, saying, I will remember all of you here today. I will deal with all of you in the future. As soon as he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu followed closely behind. Long Wangu, Qin Tiangu, Gong Sunjiang, and Deng Kuei exchanged glances with each other. Their expressions were extremely ugly and solemn. With Zhong Tongshan, Bei Qi, Huarlazi, Heavenly Wood Divine Tree, and the others behind Du Xiaofu, they had to consider the consequences if they wanted to take action. The mountain was steep and the trees were lush. When Du Xiaofu followed Fui Bai and the old lunatic to this place, there were a few simple and unadorned buildings that gave off a sense of vicissitudes. I knew you weren't dead. You won't die. A peerlessly beautiful woman rushed out. Her long, slender legs were curved in an alluring arc, accentuating her perfect figure. Her beautiful countenance was simply capable of hooking the souls of men. She spread her arms and rushed in front of Du Xiaofu, as her eyes were filled with excitement. My life is tough. No one can take it. Du Xiaofu smiled and hugged the soft jade in front of him. Du Xiaofu didn't find it strange that Ouyang Shuang was here. Her master was Old Lunatic. Cough. Old Lunatic appeared behind Du Xiaofu with a dry cough. What are you coughing for? You're already a big girl. You'll get married sooner or later. Fui Bai walked over and glanced at Old Lunatic. It's a pity that such a good cabbage has been taken. Old Lunatic's voice was a little strange, as if his cabbage had been taken by a pig. Master, what are you talking about? Ouyang Shuang came back to her senses and fell from Du Xiaofu's embrace. Her charming cheeks blushed like a peach. Du Xiaofu was also depressed. How did he end up taking cabbages? Come in. Old Lunatic opened his mouth and walked into the courtyard. A moment later, Du Xiaofu saw a weathered youth and an ethereal middle-aged man in a small courtyard. Chapter 22-21. Du Xiaofu's heart trembled as he looked at the ethereal middle-aged man and the weathered youth. The two of them didn't have any aura, but their formless aura made Du Xiaofu feel that they weren't inferior to Fuibai and Crazy Ol. Eastern deity, Southern Ru, Western demon, Northern addict, and Middle deity. Fuibai was Middle deity, and Crazy Ol was Northern addict. Du Xiaofu estimated that these two were probably two of the remaining three. They were two terrifying experts that had once joined hands to resist the demon god Soul. Let me introduce myself. The so-called Southern Ru and Western demon in this world are the two of us. We've been paying attention to everything about you. The ethereal middle-aged man was the first to speak. Greetings, seniors. Du Xiaofu bowed. His guess was right. The two before him were one of the remaining three. They were both male and female Western demon. Of the 5 mysterious experts, only Eastern deity hadn't shown himself. There's no need to be polite. You're someone chosen by the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds. Your future is boundless. There will be a day when you'll be able to shake the upper world and suppress a region. The weathered young man, Western demon, stared at Du Xiaofu. His eyes were filled with wisdom and depth, but his expression was extremely solemn at this moment. But all of this requires us to completely deal with those evil devils. If not, when this world turns into a devil domain, you will be the first to be targeted by the devil god. Senior, I'm afraid my strength is far from enough. The 9 divine lightning cauldrons have also fallen into the demon god's mouth. Du Xiaofu looked at Western demon, Nan Ru, Crazy Ol, and Fuibai. His eyes flickered, and he hesitated for a moment before saying, "Forgive me for speaking bluntly. Seniors, your strength is monstrous. If you can't kill the demon god, then I'm afraid I'm even less capable." This was something that Du Xiaofu had always been puzzled about. If Fuibai and the others couldn't kill the demon god with their strength, then even if he could reach another level, he was still far from being enough. It seems that there are some things that you should know. Hearing this, Nan Ru's eyes lit up. "Take a seat," Crazy Ol said and gestured for Du Xiaofu and Ouyang Shuang to sit down. To get rid of those demons, the most important thing is not strength. Otherwise, when the master of the 3,000 great worlds and the dragon god came personally, even 1,000 lives wouldn't be enough to kill that demon god. Nan Ru said slowly, looking at Du Xiaofu. The universe is vast and boundless. This world is isolated from everything. There are many things that the creatures of this world do not know and have never escaped from this world. If one day you are able to break out of this world, you will discover that this world is truly vast, far beyond your imagination. The geniuses of this world were only mediocre in that world. The ordinary supremes of this world were only slightly extraordinary. Only grand supremes and perfected heavenly sovereigns can be considered heavenly talents. Only heavenly sovereigns and inaction nirvana sovereigns can be considered true supremes. Nanru paused for a moment, then continued, "In the real world, there are countless experts. A true supremes can suppress a region." Senior, are you saying that there is another world outside of this world? Hearing this, Ouyang Shuang's beautiful face was already stupefied and tongue-tied. Du Xiaofu also found it hard to come back to his senses. It seemed that the secrets of this world were not limited to what he knew. There was another world outside of this world. Of course, the outside world is much more vast than this world. You are not strong enough now. When you reach that level, you will naturally know. Right now, the most important thing is this boy. Only he has the chance to get rid of that demon god. Otherwise, among the billions of creatures in this world, only a few can escape this calamity. Crazy Ol glanced at Du Xiaofu. Ouyang Shuang pouted at Crazy Ol. This old man seemed to be unwilling to say more. Ouyang Shuang did not ask any more questions. She sat beside Du Xiaofu and looked sideways at his resolute face. It was enough that he was still alive. Seniors, do you think that I can get rid of that demon god with my strength? Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. It's not what we think. It's because you are the person chosen by the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds. The divine thunder cauldron is the proof that you have the thunder martial vein and are the descendant of that person. Therefore, if there is anyone in this world who can get rid of that demon god, only you have the chance to do so, Xiao said. Senior, do you know the ancestor of the Du family? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows and was full of doubts. This was not the first time he had heard someone mention a certain person, and that person seemed to be the ancestor of the Du family. Yes, he is not only an invincible supremacy, but also a peerless talent in this world. In order to suppress the evil spirit and save billions of creatures in this world, he was willing to turn into ashes. This is worthy of our respect. Nanru's face was solemn and respectful as he spoke. There was a hint of reverence in his voice. Xiao, Fuibai, and Crazy Ol also had serious expressions. Their eyes were filled with respect that could not be erased even in ancient times. If that ancestor of your Du family is still alive, with your talent, you might not be stronger, Nanru said as he looked at Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu was shocked. It seemed that the Du family really had an ancestor that was once peerless in ancient times. To be able to make Nanru and the others revere him, it was enough to show his strength. More importantly, it seemed that the ancestor of the Du family was willing to sacrifice himself in order to suppress the evil spirit. With his talent that was peerless in ancient times, he was willing to sacrifice himself. How awe-inspiring was that? Seniors, what is going on? Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and looked at Nanru, Xiao, Fuibai, and Crazy Ol. From the moment he recognized the purple lightning profound cauldron as its master, it seemed that all of this was related to him and the Du family. Somehow, everything seemed to be entangled with him. All of this started from the ancient times of this world, and even more so from the vast universe. Nanru sat up straight, his eyes rippling as he slowly spoke. Subsequently, Du Xiaofu learned from Nanru that this world was vast and boundless. Compared to this world was no different from an ant and an elephant. It was too insignificant. Tens of thousands of years ago, the lords of the 3,000 worlds and the dragon god chased after the demon god from the upper realm, but in the end, the demon god escaped into this world. The world was vast and boundless, but it was also incomparably mysterious. In this world, the experts were suppressed by the world, and the dragon god and the lords of the 3,000 worlds were also suppressed. However, the demon god had his own advantages. He was immortal in this world, and even the dragon god and the lords of the 3,000 worlds were unable to kill him, or even suppress him. At that time, there was an invincible supreme being who had surpassed the saint realm with the ultimacy of thunder and lightning. He had integrated with the world, and in the final battle between the Lord of 3,000 worlds, the dragon god, and the demon god, he had stepped forward bravely. He was willing to perish and help the Lord of 3,000 worlds and the dragon god to suppress the demon god. Before he died, he had inscribed the supreme martial vein in the body of his descendants. He had perished and turned into 36 spiritual thunders and scattered in the world. Chapter 22:22. That invincible sovereign was the ancestor of the Du clan. However, before your ancestor died, he inscribed the lightning martial vein in the bodies of the descendants of the Du clan. However, in order to ensure the safety of the descendants, he arranged for them to hide in a secret place to avoid being found by those demons. He also did something to the lightning martial vein. Only when a descendant with an invincible disposition appears will the lightning martial vein be completely awakened. Nanru said to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's face was full of shock when he heard this. He never thought that the ancestor of the Du family had such a background. No wonder he always suspected that the Du family had an extraordinary ancestor. No wonder the Du family had never produced any extraordinary people in all these years, and could not be compared to the 9 great families. No wonder he could merge with the 5 spiritual Thunder Soul seeds. It turned out that all of this was related to the ancestor of the Du family, in the lightning martial vein. Ouyang Shuang was also shocked speechless. She was so shocked that she could not retract her jaw for a long time. She never thought that the Du family of a small border town would have such a great background. Huff. A moment later, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. No wonder those demons had been searching for the lightning martial vein since the beginning of the Divine Light Court, and finally found it from the descendants of the Du family. The ancestor of the Du family, the Lord of the 3,000 vast worlds, and the Dragon God were also unable to kill the Demon God. Even if I could reach the level of my ancestor, I would still be unable to deal with the Demon God. Du Xiaofu said. Not to mention that it was not enough for him to grow to the level of his ancestor. Even if he had the opportunity to step into the level of the ancestor of the Du family, the ancestor of the Du family, the dragon god, and the lord of the 3,000 great worlds could only suppress the devil god for a short period of time. And they also had the help of the 9 great families. Nanru, Xiao, Fuibai, and Crazy all looked helpless when they heard this. We don't know either, but the lord of the 3,000 vast worlds and the dragon god said before they left that whoever can recognize the divine thunder cauldron as its master will have the chance to completely deal with the demon god. Nanru looked at Du Xiaofu, a glimmer of light in his eyes, and continued, "There's not much time left. The demon god and the demon emperor will be able to completely recover soon. At that time, no one will be able to stop them. Not even the seniors?" Du Xiaofu frowned and raised his eyebrows slightly. The Western demon shook her head and said, "We are far from enough. Once that demon god fully recovers, the 5 of us will definitely not be a match for him even if we join forces." The corners of Du Xiaofu's mouth curled into a bitter smile. He felt that he had asked for nothing. Back then, even the master of the 3,000 upper worlds and the dragon god couldn't do anything. Naturally, these people wouldn't be enough. "Master, even you don't have a solution. How can Xiaofu have a solution? If you ask him to deal with the demon god, aren't you just asking him to do something against his will? That's just courting death." Xiaofu almost died in the hands of the demon god. Ouyang Shuang pouted at Crazy Ol. "Damned girl." Crazy Ol glared at Ouyang Shuang and said, "Little girl, what do you know? If the demon god recovers, the first one he will look for will be this kid. At that time, the first one to die will definitely be this kid." Ouyang Shuang's expression changed when she heard this. She said, "Master, what should we do? Unless we completely deal with that demon god, there is no other way. At that time, this world will also become a demonic domain." Fuibai looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "The most important thing now is to increase your strength. However, you have just stepped into the Saint Realm, and I'm afraid you won't be able to increase your strength in a short period of time." Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened when he heard this. He had just stepped into the Saint Realm, and naturally, it would be difficult for him to make another breakthrough in a short period of time. The difference between the Saint Realm and the Saint Realm was probably greater than the difference between the beginning and the Saint Realm. It's not that there's no hope. With your talent, you have stepped into the Triflare Saint Realm this time, and you also have the Thunder Martial Vein. As long as your cultivation is enough, you can fuse with all the spiritual thunders and completely deal with the demon god. Nanru said, "Triflare Saint Realm." Du Xiaofu was a bit puzzled and doubtful after hearing this. He had completely relied on his intuition to reach the Saint Realm this time, and it seemed to be quite different from others. The Tao of heaven is yin and yang, the Tao of earth is softness and firmness, and the Tao of man is benevolence and righteousness. 2 out of the 3. Your body is earth, and your primordial spirit is heaven. Finally, your body and primordial spirit will fuse together to step into the Saint Realm and achieve the Triflare Saint Realm of heaven, earth, and man. Above, you are also known as the Triflare Invincible Sovereign. With such talent, even if you were to succeed in the Triflare realm, it would be enough to cause a commotion and alarm all the races. Any one of these monstrous geniuses would be able to suppress an entire region. Nanru said, "Seems very strong." A smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's face when he heard Nanru's words. He rubbed his chin and said, "In that case, even if I go to the vast world one day, I will still be an invincible existence, right?" Nanru, Crazy Ol, Western Demon, and Fuibai all rolled their eyes at Du Xiaofu after hearing this. This brat was truly narcissistic. You think too much. In the upper realm, the ancient lineages, the 100 schools of thought, and the 9 great clans all have unfathomable supreme geniuses. They also have invincible existences. Crazy Ol looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "Plus, as long as the devil god is still around, you won't have the chance to go up there." After hearing this, Du Xiaofu's heart, which was floating a moment ago, immediately fell from heaven to hell. Quickly increase your strength and find all the spirit thunderbolts. Otherwise, it will be too late. The Western demon said to Du Xiaofu, "The only thing we can do is to help with all our strength. If no one can stop the demon god this time, this world will be plunged into an abyss of misery and misery. Du Xiaofu's heart was heavy. Finding all the spirit thunderbolts wasn't easy, but if he could really fuse with all the spirit thunderbolts, then his strength would definitely increase greatly. This was also the fastest way to increase his strength. I wonder if any of you seniors have any Saint-grade spiritual pills, Saint-grade martial skills, or heavenly treasures. These are all beneficial to my cultivation. Let's deal with the devil god together. There's no need to be too selfish. After that, Du Xiaofu looked at Nanru, Crazy, Western Demon, and Fui Bai with a smile. It would be strange if such experts didn't have anything good on them. Don't even think about Saint-grade spiritual pills, heavenly treasures, Saint-grade martial skills, Saint-grade weapons, and so on. You're the one chosen by the Lord of the 3,000 great worlds. No matter how strong they are, they won't be able to compare to the Azure Spirit Armor and the Divine Lightning Cauldron. Nanru looked at Du Xiaofu helplessly and rolled his eyes at Du Xiaofu. With an unfriendly expression, he said, "You already know what I can tell you. The rest is up to you. Go back." Chapter 22-23. Senior, I'm not picky. Just give me anything. Du Xiaofu was anxious. It was not easy for him to meet these legendary experts. If he didn't get something, he would be letting himself down. No, stop embarrassing yourself. Go back. Fui Bai said to Du Xiaofu in a bad mood. Is there really nothing? Just give me something. Du Xiaofu looked like he wouldn't give up until he got something. There really isn't anything. Fui Bai glared at Du Xiaofu and said, this fellow was his disciple's son. After all, his shamelessness made him feel a little embarrassed. Fui Bai, don't forget the oath you made. Du Xiaofu glared back at Fui Bai and said, do you need me to remind you again? Big brother, there's no need. How could I forget? Fui Bai smiled awkwardly and said to Du Xiaofu, all right, take this. Nanru said. A stream of light flew out from his hand and floated in front of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu immediately smiled. How could Nanru's item be so bad? He reached out his hand, and an ancient brocade box appeared in his hand. Thank you, senior, Du Xiaofu said, and was about to open the box. Don't open it. Nanru stopped Du Xiaofu and said, this is a defense formed by the 5 of us. As long as you don't encounter a demon god at his peak, it should be enough for you to escape. If you encounter any danger, just open it. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu was extremely shocked. This was definitely a good thing. The defense formed by East Deity, Nanru, and the others was definitely much stronger than Saint Tools and Saint Medicines. Its value was immeasurable. At a critical moment, it could save his life. Thank you, seniors. Du Xiaofu respectfully bowed. Let's go. We don't have much time left. You'll have to rely on yourself next, the Western Yao said. Master, I also want to return to the desolate country, Ouyang Shuang said to Crazy Ol. No. With the great calamity looming, the most important thing for you now is to increase your strength. The thing inside your body is very strange. We'll have to observe it for a while, Crazy Ol said to Ouyang Shuang. Senior Bei Qi is right. You stay here and I'll come back for you. Du Xiaofu said to Ouyang Shuang. In the face of the great calamity, it was indeed the best arrangement for Ouyang Shuang to stay here. The mysterious object in Ouyang Shuang's body had always been strange. It was a good opportunity for Nanru and the other seniors to take a good look and figure out its origins. All right then. Looking at Du Xiaofu, although Ouyang Shuang was reluctant, she could only nod her head. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, is still alive. In front of legalism, he has stepped into the Saint realm and defeated the Saint ancestor of legalism, Qin Yanlong. The Thunder War King, Du Tingxian, has also stepped into the Saint realm. The desolate country's army is suddenly approaching the border. All the supreme talents have come out. There are several Saint realm experts. Rumor has it that the old monster Green Fox has also joined the desolate country. No wonder a while ago, the desolate country's mysterious warship appeared on the Stone City and the Central River. The desolate country's elites have all come out. It's to deal with legalism. It is said that the desolate country's army is approaching the border this time. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, wants to take back his mother, Han Aodong, and sister, Du Xiaojing, who are under house arrest by legalism. As time passed, what happened in front of the gate of legalism and on the sky plane was witnessed by all the experts. It swept the world like a storm. The news that the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, the Thunder War King, the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor, the Redbone Horse Monkey, and the old monster Green Fox had joined the desolate country shook the tri-continent Kyushu. All the factions were shaken. Legalism has long been premeditated. The three ancient ancestors of the school of vertical and horizontal, the dragons, and the famous family have all come together. They want to get rid of Du Xiaofu. The desolate country also has an ancient expert like Huolei Laozu. They also have the help of the heavenly wood divine tree. Finally, there are experts like the mysterious Zhongtong god Fuibai and the old madman Northern Addict. They have suppressed the famous family ancient ancestors. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, has stepped into the saint realm. The desolate country now has several saints. They also have the golden-winged great rocks behind them, as well as experts like Huolei Laozu, the heavenly wood divine tree, Zhongtong gods, and the old madman Northern Addict. This is a terrifying force. Legalism should be regretting it now. They should be one family, but they just had to deal with the Demon King. How long has it been? The desolate country is now strong enough to suppress all of legalism. I heard that in front of the legalism's gate of legalism, the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor and the Child of the Sacred Array, Zhen Qingshun, slapped the legalism's face like crazy. This time, the legalism has lost all face. Legalism deserves it. When the heavens call for disaster, they can still survive. But when they call for disaster, they can't survive. The three continents, Kyushu, the Beast region, and the Yao realm were all abuzz with discussion. The desolate country's army returned to the Stone City in the Million Mountains. Everyone was in high spirits. The Rock Emperor is still alive. Our Rock Emperor is still alive. The heavens have blessed our desolate country. The streets of the Stone City were filled with people. The elderly and the children walked the streets. They were wild with joy and were in an uproar. News of what had happened in front of the legalism's gate spread throughout the desolate country. The entire country was in jubilation. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. You're too similar to your brother. My child, you've suffered all these years. The Du family, the old women, and the trembling old people all had hot tears in their eyes. Greetings, third aunt, Sister Xiaojing. The children were all filled with joy and curiosity. They happily surrounded Han Aodong and Du Xiaojing. Our family is finally reunited. We've waited too long for this day. May the heavens have mercy on our ancestors. An old woman with a walking stick walked up. Her wrinkled face had tears in her eyes. Even the calm Han Aodong and Du Xiaojing could not help but have tears in their eyes. Xiaofu is still alive. Our family is reunited. This is great. May the heavens have mercy on our ancestors. Du Zhixiong and Du Jinwu were overjoyed. Du Xiaofu had returned to the Stone City. He saw the crowds in the streets and heard the prayers of the elderly, women, and children. As he stood in the air, his heart trembled. Looking at the densely packed figures below, Du Xiaofu knew that they were the people he needed to protect. They were the subjects of the barren country, the disciples of the barren country. The fresh blood of the barren country would be reproduced by them. The calamity was coming. When the time came, the world would become a demon's domain. Looking at the densely packed figures below, Du Xiaofu's heart felt heavy. When the time came, where would the desolate country's disciples follow him go? The Rock Emperor. Look, it's the Rock Emperor. The Rock Emperor is back. Our Rock Emperor is back. Suddenly, someone raised his head and saw Du Xiaofu. He immediately trembled and exclaimed. Chapter 22-24. It's the Rock Emperor. That's the Rock Emperor. The crowd was in an uproar. Their gazes were trembling, and some had already knelt down to pay their respects. Looking down, Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with a golden light. With a thought, the majestic palace in front of him trembled slightly. Boom! In an instant, a dazzling golden light soared into the sky from the depths of the majestic imperial palace. The golden light was like a rising golden sun that soared into the sky and transformed into a golden dragon shadow that roared out. The golden dragon was mighty. Clouds grew under its feet, and it was incomparably huge. Half of it shuttled through the sea of clouds, while the other half occupied the sky above the stone city. Endless golden light bloomed, and a majestic aura descended. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared on top of the golden dragon. He stepped on it, and his body was shrouded in dragon aura. Golden light shone, and the vision was like a miracle. Roar! The dragon roared, revealing a mysterious and ancient aura. The aura spread throughout the entire barren country, and it was still spreading in all directions. Such an aura was too terrifying. It resonated with heaven and earth, forming a powerful and majestic force that spread across the sky. At this moment, the barren country trembled, and the dragon aura from the palace filled the sky. The golden dragon was in the sky, occupying the entire barren country. That tall and straight figure was vast and mighty in the sky. We pay our respects to the Rock Emperor. The Emperor is unparalleled, and he shall suppress all enemies. The Emperor is unparalleled, and he shall suppress all enemies. Starting from the stone city, hundreds of millions of barren country's citizens knelt down. Their voices were like thunder that reached the sky. At this moment, the entire barren country was in an uproar. That was the soul of the barren country, the emperor of the barren country. Stepping on the golden dragon, his might shook the sky, and the heavenly aura spread in all directions. How shocking was that? Its third brother, Xiaofu, is back. In the palace, Du Xiaoman, Du Yunlong, Du Jinwu, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, the Green Fox Demon, Lian Qingrong, and many others walked out. They looked up at the shocking movement in the sky. Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, and Han Aodong were also in front of the crowd. It's been hard all these years. Han Aodong looked up and said to Du Tingxian next to her. It's not hard. Du Tingxian took Han Aodong's hand. Looking at the tightly clasped hands beside him, Du Xiaojing had a satisfied smile on his moving face. On the golden dragon of void, Du Xiaofu's eyes shone brightly. He could feel the imperial palace's dragon qi increasing imperceptibly and gathering around him. That's his. Zhenzi's nun, dragons lose Nan Chuan, Nn's SS nun, SSSS dragon saint. Now that he had stepped into the saint plane, Du Xiaofu could feel that when his physical body was sanctified, there was the help of the imperial palace's dragon qi in his body. At this moment, Du Xiaofu could still feel that the dragon qi in the palace was beneficial to him. In the house of the courtyard's courtyard. The sizzle, the aroma of meat filled the air. On a large grill and several grills, there were several pieces of demonic beast meat. Du Xiaofu was very familiar with the process. He calmly grilled the meat, and the oil sizzled. Du Xiaofu had collected this demonic beast meat when he was in the Tomb of Eternity. They were all demonic beast meat above the beast realm. As a grilled meat lover, Du Xiaofu was always ready. There were many people in the courtyard, which was not big to begin with. Jin Xingchun, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Elder Yi, the 18 heavenly generals, Du Xiaoman, Du Yunlong, Lian Qingrong, and the other protector emissaries. The Green Fox Demon, the palace protector emissary, was also among them. Of course, the main characters were Han Aodong and Du Xiaojing. Gulp, gulp, Jin Xingchun, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoqing, Qian Guyu, and the others all had hot throats. They swallowed their saliva. The aroma of the meat was irresistible to them. Lian Qingrong, Yalu Han, Du Gufinchen, and the others were the same. Their eyes were fixed on the grilled meat. At this moment, the Green Fox Demon's heart was trembling. The lineup in this small courtyard was too powerful. It was enough to sweep the world. It's done. After a while, Du Xiaofu smiled. He was done. A large piece of grilled meat wrapped in fragrant leaves was brought to Han Aodong and Du Xiaojing. He smiled and said, "Mother, Xiaojing, try it. It should taste good." Okay. Han Aodong smiled as she received the barbecued meat from Du Xiaofu's hands from Du Xiaojing. She began to eat in large bites. Her disregard for her image caused Du Tingxian to involuntarily be secretly stunned. It's delicious. Father's cooking is still the best. Jin Qing Chun, little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, little Tiger, and Du Xiaoqing all rushed forward and ate heartily. Yelu Han, Lin Qingrong, Dugu Finchen, and Yi Piaoling didn't hold back either. There is also wine. It has been buried under the snow for more than 5,000 years. There are only 5 jars in the world, and I brought 2. Lin Qingrong took out 2 large jars of wine from her Chinquan bag. Before she opened the jars, the wine had already spilled out and drifted in the stone city. Those whose cultivation was not high enough would be drunk just by smelling the wine. Good stuff. This is definitely good stuff. It's hard to get even with money. Du Tingxian smiled. When it came to wine, he was a connoisseur. Looking at the 2 jars of wine, his eyes were already shining. Palace Guardian Sacred Envoy, don't be shy. From now on, the Hotian Beast Hall will rely on you. Du Xiaofu came to the side of the Green Fox Demon and personally handed over the wine and meat. Rock Emperor, you're too polite. The old monster of the Green Fox tribe nodded respectfully from the bottom of his heart. How could he not know that the Devil King in front of him could easily kill him on his own at this moment and make him submit to him? Du Xiaofu patted the Green Fox Demon on the shoulder and said with a smile, "From now on, the Palace Guardian Sacred Envoy will be a member of the Barren Country. If you need anything, just tell me. The Barren Country will try its best to satisfy you with the power of the whole country." "Thank you, Rock Emperor. From now on, I will do my best." The Green Fox Demon bent down and saluted respectfully. The Green Fox Demon knew that the reason why he could appear in this small courtyard at this moment was that the Demon King in front of him really regarded him as a member of the Barren Country. This was what he had chosen to do in the face of legalism. Palace Guardian Sacred Envoy, you don't have to be so polite. On the path of cultivation, you are a senior. Du Xiaofu had seen the Green Fox Demon's choice. The Green Fox Demon was a smart person. He would make his own choice. Only by sincerely submitting to Du Xiaofu could he become a great help to the Barren Country. I don't dare. On the path of cultivation, the one who reaches the top comes first. Rock Emperor, you make me feel ashamed. The Green Fox Demon smiled bitterly. He was absolutely sincere. He knew how abnormal the little Demon King in front of him was. Although he had just stepped into the Saint Realm, he could defeat all the cultivators in the same realm. Even Qin Yanlong was no match for him, let alone the Green Fox Demon. If it were in the past, the Green Fox Demon could still pretend to be old. However, at this moment, the Green Fox Demon was also in the Saint Realm. He had no right to pretend to be old. On the path of cultivation, the one who reaches the top comes first. This had never changed since ancient times. In the courtyard, the fragrance of wine and meat filled the air. All the supreme talents in this small courtyard did not care about their image at all. They acted like bandits and did not show any courtesy to anyone. The taste of the wine and barbecue was not only irresistible, but also greatly beneficial to the people present who had reached the domain realm. It was late at night. The bright moon was high in the sky, and the moonlight was like silk. In the courtyard, everyone who had eaten their fill left one after another. There was energy surging in their bodies that needed to be refined immediately. Grandma, Aunt Xiaojing, I'm leaving first. Godmother, Sister Xiaojing, I'm leaving too. Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoqing, and the others left. They drank until their cheeks were red. They ate until their bellies were full and they burped. I'm very happy. Only the family of 4 were left in the courtyard. Du Tingxian tossed the wine pot in his hand to Du Xiaofu, who was beside him. His handsome face was flushed. No one knew whether it was because the wine was too strong or because he had drunk too much tonight. Chapter 22-25. I'm also very happy. Du Xiaofu took the wine jug and took a big gulp. Then, he passed the jug back to Du Tingxian. Although he was still thinking about the demon god, he was indeed very happy. He also knew what his alcoholic father was happy about. Since he was young, his alcoholic father had always been drinking alone in this courtyard. Every year, on the 15th day of the 8th month, he would find him to drink a few mouthfuls. And now, the family was finally reunited. I'm very proud to have a son like you. As expected of my son, Du Tingxian. Du Tingxian took the wine jug and took another big gulp. I'm also very proud to have a father like you, Du Xiaofu said. He was already used to the way the father and son interacted. Drink a few mouthfuls with me. I'm really happy today. Okay. Actually, your alcohol tolerance might not be as good as mine. Impossible. I was the one who taught you how to drink. There's a saying that goes, the student surpasses the master. In the courtyard, the moonlight poured down. The father and son drank one mouthful after another. Looking at the father and son, Han Aodong and Du Xiaojing smiled at each other and quietly accompanied them. When your grandmaster and senior Beiqi came to find you, they should have mentioned the origin of the thunder vein to you, right? Suddenly, Du Tingxian looked at Du Xiaofu. His bright red face became serious. You already knew the identity of Senior Beiqi and that old man Fuibai? Du Xiaofu asked. I found out at the same time as you. Du Tingxian shook his head and said to Du Xiaofu, but I already knew that your grandmaster purposely stayed in the Du family to find the thunder vein, and I was the person your grandmaster chose. He hoped that I could completely awaken the thunder vein. His voice paused for a moment. Du Tingxian looked at Du Xiaofu and smiled embarrassedly. Actually, there's something I've been sorry about. We're father and son. There's no need to say so much. Du Xiaofu smiled at Du Tingxian and asked, but I'm still curious. What do you have that you can't let me down? Do you still remember when you were 5 or 6 years old? That storm. Du Tingxian paused as he watched Du Xiaofu's reaction. I remember. I was struck by lightning once. How could Du Xiaofu not remember? During that sudden storm, he was trying to comprehend the mysterious technique on the stone tablet when a drought lightning suddenly struck the stone tablet. In the end, the stone tablet was fine, but he suffered an unexpected calamity. He was struck by lightning and fell into a coma for 3 days and 3 nights before waking up. However, it was also because of that lightning strike that the 3 of them were able to enter that wonderful state of comprehension. The mysterious talisman engravings on the stone tablet that were related to the mysterious move also appeared in their minds along with the lightning strike, allowing them to comprehend it. Actually, that day, I was awakening the thunder martial vein. I was careless and struck you. Fortunately, you're fine. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'll feel uneasy for the rest of my life. Du Tingxian smiled at Du Xiaofu and continued, later, when you were in a daze in front of the stone tablet, even I almost thought that you were struck by lightning. I felt uneasy for a period of time. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu was stunned. He stared at Du Tingxian tightly. It was as if a herd of wild beasts were roaring in his heart and could not be calmed down for a long time. Phew! After a while, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. He looked at Du Tingxian and said snappily, forget it. Who asked you to be my father? Of course, I'm your father. Du Tingxian laughed. So, the stone coffin in the ancestral shrine was also your doing? Du Xiaofu looked at Du Tingxian and suddenly remembered that he would climb out of the stone coffin in the ancestral shrine every once in a while. No one would believe him when he told them, and they even thought that he was a fool. Yes, that stone coffin is a treasure that can cleanse the marrow and bones. It was discovered by your grandmaster. I've been cleansing my marrow and bones since I was young. Du Tingxian looked at Du Xiaofu and said, at that time, an ancestor of legalism said that you were born with an incomplete martial vein, but I know that's not the case. You were seriously injured by those people of legalism, and your vitality was endless. You shook the heaven and earth and caused a vision. Divine lightning fell from the sky, and the heavenly might descended. You were protected by the heaven and earth, so how could you be mediocre? I already knew that the Du family has a great origin. The son of Du Tingxian, is not an innocent bystander. Du Xiaofu's eyes were a little wet. His drunkard father had been silently protecting him since he was young. In the face of the calamity, our Du family has the thunder vein and a great origin. We will bear the brunt of it. Father and son, we will fight side by side. Even if we can't stop the calamity, we will protect the peace. Du Tingxian said as he patted Du Xiaofu's shoulder. Father, brother, me too. Don't forget that I'm a natural holy venerable and have awakened the thunder vein. I'm also a member of the Du family. Du Xiaojing's beautiful figure walked over. Her ethereal eyes shone like stars on her extraordinary face. Me too. Our family will never be separated again. Han Aodong walked over with a satisfied smile on her beautiful face. Our family will never be separated again. Du Xiaofu smiled and looked at his drunkard father, mother, and sister beside him. At this moment, he felt very comfortable. I must increase my strength as soon as possible to stop that demonic god. Du Xiaofu's conviction in the depths of his heart grew stronger. His family was finally reunited, and he had to protect them all. The night passed slowly. Early in the morning, everything was silent. The morning light on the eastern horizon slowly soaked into the light blue sky. When the first ray of sunlight pierced through the darkness before dawn, it crossed the mountains and finally enveloped the stone city. Phew! Du Xiaofu, who was sitting cross-legged, withdrew his hand seal and exhaled a mouthful of turbid qi. His eyes shone with golden light as he stretched his back. He felt indescribably comfortable. Rock Emperor, many people are here. There are Elder Qingyang and Sect Master Sima Tuxing from the Ancient Heaven Sect, Elder Tang Miling from the Hahuan School, and young Sect Master Mu from the Saman Sword Sect. Li Shui reported that many people from the Barren Country had come to congratulate the Barren Country. They were able to receive ordinary guests, but guests like Mu Jianxin from the Ancient Heaven Sect, Hahuan School, and Saman Sword Sect had to be reported. Master, you're here? Du Xiaofu smiled, and then disappeared. Li Shui looked at the disappearing figure and smiled. She had known the Demon King's character since their time at the Tianwu Academy. Under his ferocious and domineering appearance, he had always protected his elders and the people around him with his life. Even now that he had stepped into the Saint Realm and was one of the top experts in the world, he still respected his master without the slightest arrogance. Du Xiaofu met his master Feng Qingyang, Senior Sima Tuxing, the Golden Rock Domain Master, and other elders of the Ancient Heaven Sect in a side hall of the palace. Haha, Gu Qingyang laughed, his two front teeth protruding out of his mouth. After hearing the news, he immediately rushed to the Barren Country. After chatting with his master Gu Qingyang, Senior Sima Tuxing, and the Golden Rock Domain Master for a while, Du Xiaofu went to see Tang Miling and the others, accompanied by Ji Jian and the others. She didn't come? Du Xiaofu was a little surprised when he didn't see Su Muxin. Master is cultivating in seclusion, Ji Jian said, and then an unfathomable light fell from her eyes. She still remembered that when they were in Tianchuan City, the person in front of her was already unreachable. Do you miss Junior, sister? I know she wants to come too. I really don't understand you guys, Tang Miling said. Over the years, as her cultivation improved, she became more and more charming and seductive. After a while, I will go to Munchu to see her. Du Xiaofu thought of that beautiful figure in his mind. After a while, Du Xiaofu saw many familiar faces. Mu Jianxin, Yu Zheng Tongxian, Feng Wuxia, Mu Qingge, Bailey Wuya, and the others. There was also Hua Zimo, who had an extraordinary relationship with the Barren Country. They were accompanied by Yi Piaoling and the others. When Du Xiaofu arrived, everyone stood up and saluted. Their eyes were shocked, but they were not too restrained. They had fought side by side in the past, and their friendship had long reached the point where it had nothing to do with strength. This is too abnormal. The Saint Realm, I don't know when we will be able to set foot in it. Mu Jianxin and the others stared at Du Xiaofu and carefully sized him up, unable to recover for a long time. The Golden-Winged Rock Clan is here. Such a voice resounded throughout the entire stone city. Golden light expanded from the sky as one figure after another swept over. The formless tyrannical aura shook the heavens. The ones in the lead were Jialo Jueyu and Jialo Kaling. The Phoenix clan is here to pay a visit to Huolei Laozu and the Rock Emperor. The Confucian school is here to pay a visit to Huolei Laozu and the Witch Sovereign. The Taoist school is here to pay a visit to Huolei Laozu and the Rock Emperor. The School of Agriculture is here to pay a visit to the Master of Fire Thunder and the Rock Emperor. Following that, the Stone City was shaken and did not calm down. Various powers came to pay a visit and congratulate. Needless to say, the Golden-Winged Rock Clan came directly and did not treat themselves as outsiders. The Phoenix Clan, Confucian School, Taoist School, School of Agriculture, School of Moism, School of Yin-Yang, and even the School of Buddhism came. Chapter 22-26. Zixuan, Huang Linger, and Feng Han of the Phoenix clan did not come, but Saint Feng Qi came with Du Xiaohuang. The Confucian school also sent many people, led by the divine ancestor Mo Chiha. His hair was combed into a high bun, and his face was ruddy, as if he always had a smile on his face. Zhou Xiaoluo was nowhere to be seen, but the divine ancestor Jiang Yuechan was in the lead. His hair was white, and his eyes were as deep as the sea. Sima Muhan and Imo Runin were not among the Mahes school, but the divine ancestor Hu Xuanhu was in the lead. The Taoist school's divine ancestor Qing Feng also came with a smile on his face. The Buddhist school's Saint Realm Old Monk was in the lead, and there were also level 9 spirits. These Saint Realm experts came to visit, including Du Tingxian and Du Xiaojing. After all, they were Saint Realm experts. Little Demon Du and Little Star, these two fellows, for some unknown reason, also appeared. The old monster Green Fox was now the Barren Nation's guardian sacred envoy, so the Saint Realm experts of the 9 great families naturally had to show up. Of course, Huolei Laozu was not in the mood to pay attention to them. He had been cultivating in seclusion in the Barren Nation's palace. Huolei Laozu did not even need to show up with the Barren Nation's lineup. It was enough to make all the major forces tremble. Other than the Barren Nation, who else could bring out such a huge lineup? There were several Saint Realm cultivators. Saint Feng Qi and the others were even more clearly aware that even though Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Du Tingxian, and Du Xiaojing had only recently broken through to the Saint Realm, these 4 people were all abnormal existences. It was especially so for Du Xiaofu. News of his battle with Qin Yanlong of the Legalism School had long spread. Back then, Du Xiaofu had been able to dominate his peers. He had not yet become a saint, but he had been able to contend with a saint. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had stepped into the saint realm and caused a phenomenon in the world. How could Saint Feng Qi, Taoist Qing Feng, and the others not know how strong he was? They didn't think that they were much stronger than Qin Yanlong. Du Xiaofu met the people from the various major forces. Saint Feng Qi, Taoist Qing Feng, Jiang Yuechan, Hu Xuanhu, and the other Saint Realm experts were even more polite than before. Grandma is in seclusion. Grandpa said that you should send a message to the clan if there's anything. Don't take risks, Jialo Kaling said to Du Xiaofu. All right. Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly, but his heart was filled with warmth. He then asked about the situation of the rocks and learned that his grandmother, Garuda Mola, was in seclusion, attempting to enter the Saint Plain. Grandpa, Grandma, Auntie. In the backyard of the Du family, the figures of Little Xingxing and Du Xiaohuang were everywhere, and their clear voices resounded. The Phoenix clan, Confucian school, Taoist school, School of Agriculture, School of Buddhism, and others left after congratulating them. Several days later, the golden-winged Great Rocks and the ancient Heaven sects people also returned home. Tang Miling of the Hahuan school and Mu Jianxian of the Saman sword sect also returned to Shangzhou. The desolate country once again regained its relative peace for a short time. In the following period, Du Xiaofu stayed in the Du family every day, accompanied by Little Xingxing, Du Xiaohuang, and Du Xiaoqing. The family was peaceful and warm. However, this peace didn't last long. Du Xiaofu knew that he didn't have much time left. There were some things that he had to do. Night fell, and the last trace of red in the sky dissipated into the horizon. Du Xiaofu met with Huolei Laozu in the secret chamber of the Imperial Palace. You have fulfilled one of the conditions that you mentioned. There is another one left. Is it time to do it now? Huolei's red and blue electric arc eyes seemed to be able to see through Du Xiaofu. Yes, I need you to stay here and accompany me. Du Xiaofu nodded. There were some things that needed to be done as soon as possible. Okay, when do you leave? Huolei nodded. I don't know the place yet, but I should be able to find some information, Du Xiaofu said. The moonlight shone on the Imperial Palace, making it look like a dream. In the Imperial Palace, the huge dark seeker herb and the immortal grass emitted light, illuminating the stone city in the moonlight. In the depths of the Imperial Palace, where the dragon veins gathered, the Imperial Palace was full of dragon qi. Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Du Xiaofu, and the old monster Green Fox appeared. What a rich Imperial Palace dragon qi. The old monster Green Fox had sharp eyes. He was shocked by the rich imperial palace dragon chi. He had never seen such a surging imperial palace dragon chi. If he could cultivate here for a period of time, he would definitely benefit greatly, even though he had reached the holy beast realm. Suddenly, the old monster of the green fox tribe saw a spiritual long sword hovering above the main hall. The shadow of a golden dragon was entrenched in it. The golden light was like a rising sun, exuding a mysterious and ancient aura. It seemed to be affecting the heaven and earth, and its might was spreading. At this moment, when the old monster green fox took a look at this spiritual sword, he secretly trembled for no reason. What a terrifying sword! The old monster green fox's heart trembled. This sword was not simple. This is the seal of the barren nation. The imperial palace dragon chi here is rich. If you have time in the future, you can come here to cultivate, Du Xiaofu said when he saw the old monster green fox's shock. This is the seal of the barren nation. The old monster green fox was shocked. He had seen a lot of seals of the barren nation, but this was the first time he had seen this kind of seal of the barren nation. It gathered the dragon veins, was nourished by the imperial palace dragon chi, and was protected by heaven. No wonder this sword made him tremble. However, after the shock, the old monster green fox was secretly pleasantly surprised. If he could cultivate here in the future, he would benefit immensely. Dad, what are we doing here? Little Xingxing blinked her big eyes and asked Du Xiaofu, "Protect me. I need to do something." Du Xiaofu said to little Xingxing, "Du Xiaoao," and the old monster green fox. His face became serious. In this hall, the imperial palace dragon chi lingered around him. With the power of heaven and earth, he was filled with great majesty for no reason. Okay. Looking at the serious expression on Du Xiaofu's face, Du Xiaoyao, the old monster green fox, and little Xingxing also became serious, especially little Xingxing and Du Xiaoyao. It was rare for them to see Du Xiaofu so serious. It seemed that this matter was not a trivial matter. Hiss! Hearing this, Du Xiaofu rushed out and sat cross-legged in the center of the hall. Little Xingxing, the old monster green fox, and Du Xiaoyao also became serious. They stood guard outside the hall. Phew! After taking a deep breath, Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with a flash of lightning, and he formed a handprint in his hands. Boom! Suddenly, the hall trembled, and the imperial palace dragon chi surged. A faint dragon roar could be heard from the entrenched hegemon shadow. In the courtyard of the Du family, Du Tingxian looked into the depths of the imperial palace. His hair fluttered in the wind, and his eyes were calm but deep. Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and the old monster green fox are all here. The space fluctuated, and Du Xiaojing quietly appeared beside Du Tingxian. She looked into the depths of the imperial palace. The auras of little Xingxing, Du Xiaoao, and the old monster green fox could not escape her detection. Chapter 22-27. In the main hall of the imperial palace, Du Xiaofu condensed his handprints, causing the imperial dragon chi to fluctuate. When the last handprint was condensed, silver gold lightning arcs flashed across his eyes, and a white light whizzed out of his body like divine light, shaking the main hall. Sizzle! Bolts of lightning shuttled back and forth. Instantly, with Du Xiaofu at the center, silver gold bolts of lightning fluctuated in the surroundings within the hall, and they were dense and covered in dazzling talisman markings. Bolts of lightning poured down like a waterfall and enveloped Du Xiaofu within it, causing lightning to crackle without end. It's the spiritual thunder. The old monster green fox, who was outside the main hall, could not help but look back in astonishment. Boom! At the same time, a vast primordial spirit aura soared into the sky from Du Xiaofu's body, causing the main hall to tremble and sweep out, accompanied by lightning and thunder. If Du Xiaofu had set up restrictions around the main hall, the entire stone city would have been greatly affected at this moment. The power of his primordial spirit is too terrifying. Even so, the old monster green fox was stunned by the impact of the vast primordial spirit power. The Demon King's body was too incredible. His physical body was abnormal, his combat strength was abnormal, and the power of his primordial spirit was also extremely abnormal. In the main hall, As the power of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit swept out from his body, his eyes had quietly closed, and the vast qi aura around him gradually calmed down. Du Xiaofu sat quietly with his legs crossed. At this moment, there was no longer any light on his body. Everything returned to calmness, like an old monk who had entered meditation. However, at this moment, a cluster of flames and lightning arcs began to flicker in the center of Du Xiaofu's eyebrows. No one knew that in Du Xiaofu's mud-pill palace, the soul seed of the 3,000 quaking thunder, which had been silent all this time, began to glow as if it had awakened. The flames and lightning arcs seemed to be burning, becoming more and more brilliant. At a closer look, a strand of silver-gold lightning from Du Xiaofu's crimson pheasant monkey landed on the 3,000 thunder soul seed, activating it and reviving it. Within the hall, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged like an old monk in meditation. In fact, Du Xiaofu was trying something he had never done before. He was trying to find the whereabouts of his master, Xiahou Fenglei. The family had been reunited. Du Xiaofu did not forget that his master was still in the hands of the devil religion, and his whereabouts were unknown. When the seven-star hall was destroyed, Du Xiaofu swore that he would find his master one day. As a disciple, Du Xiaofu never dared to forget his master. Du Xiaofu knew that his master was still alive, judging from the imprint on the 3,000 thunder soul seed that was still in his Naiwan palace. Over the years, Du Xiaofu had been honing his skills along the way. All he wanted was to reunite with his family and rescue his master from the devil religion. The devil religion was mysterious. No one knew its whereabouts, not even the 9 great families, dragons, or phoenixes. This time, Du Xiaofu had inquired about the devil religion's whereabouts from Saint Fengqi and Daoist Qingfeng, but to no avail. It was already difficult to find the devil religion, not to mention a person who had fallen into the hands of the devil religion. Under normal circumstances, Du Xiaofu knew that it would be difficult for him to succeed. It would not be easy for him to find his master's whereabouts. However, the soul seed of the 3,000 repelling thunderbolts had always been with him. Now that he had stepped into the saint realm, his primordial spirit had also become a saint like his physical body. Du Xiaofu wanted to give it a try. With the help of his primordial spirit and the soul seed of the 3,000 repelling thunderbolts, it was not impossible to find the exact location of his master, Xiahou Fenglei. Du Xiaofu had been pondering for a long time. Back then, his master, Xiahou Fenglei, had placed the 3,000 vibrating thunder soul seed in his body, but he did not cut off the connection. Strictly speaking, the 3,000 vibrating thunder soul seed still belonged to his master, Xiahou Fenglei. There was naturally an invisible connection between the two, and there would be an invisible mark. This mark and connection would only disappear when his master, Xiahou Fenglei, had completely fallen. However, if he wanted to use the 3,000 thunder soul seed to find his master, Du Xiaofu would need a vast amount of yuan spirit power. Even when he had reached the level of immortality, he did not do it. On the one hand, his yuan spirit power was not enough. On the other hand, with his cultivation strength at that time, even if he knew the whereabouts of his master, Du Xiaofu knew that he could do nothing. There was no way he could save his master from the devil religion. Now that he had reached the sage realm and had Du Xiaoyao, Xingxing, the old monster green fox, and Huolei Laozu by his side, Du Xiaofu decided to do it. When Du Xiaofu negotiated with Huolei Laozu, he wanted to reach the sage realm one day and save his master from the devil religion with Huolei Laozu. The demon god and the 9 great demon emperors were already recovering. If he went to the devil religion at this time, he would definitely be in a very dangerous situation. However, Du Xiaofu thought that the devil religion had not taken action yet. Those demon emperors and demon gods must also be recovering. If he knew the whereabouts of his master at this time, with his strength, Huolei Laozu, and the others, he could take them by surprise and end the battle quickly. At that time, he would definitely have a chance to save his master and escape unscathed. Now, the most important thing was to know the whereabouts of his master, the venerable weapon. Du Xiaofu entered the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds with the power of his spirit, trying to find the whereabouts of his master, the venerable weapon. Originally, the spiritual thunder soul seeds were the natural nemesis of the spirit. Du Xiaofu's spirit had several kinds of spiritual thunder soul seeds in it. The spiritual thunder soul seeds absolutely repelled each other, and all of them wanted to devour each other. It was difficult for Du Xiaofu to find his master's whereabouts in the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds with the power of his spirit. However, Du Xiaofu was also confident. The 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds had been in his mud pill palace for a long time and had long been used to his spirit. With the current power of his spirit, it was enough to suppress the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds and make them obedient. As Du Xiaofu expected, with his current strength and the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds in his mud pill palace, he entered the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds with the power of his spirit. Although he was resisted, he was able to forcibly suppress and guide the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds. It was a daunting experience and went smoothly. Walala! After suppressing the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds, Du Xiaofu's spirit directly entered the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seeds. In an instant, it was as if his eyes were dazzled. It was as if he was in an illusion. A bright flaming arc of lightning appeared in front of Du Xiaofu's eyes. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. It was vast and boundless. Roar! A fire beast the size of a baby appeared in front of Du Xiaofu's spirit. Its entire body was covered with bright flaming arcs of lightning. It was crystal clear. Its wings were like thunder wings. It had the head of a lion and the body of a phoenix. It roared. This was the transformation of the 3,000 quaking thunder soul seed. Du Xiaofu immediately gathered the power of his spirit and directly plunged it into the glabella of the strange beast. Chapter 22-28. Roar. The power of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit rushed in. With a roar, the soul seed beast immediately closed its eyes and an invisible wave of energy spread out. At this moment, Du Xiaofu seemed to be shuttling through a crack in the void. It was pitch black all around, and there seemed to be a faint spark of electricity in front of him. Du Xiaofu did not hesitate. The power of his primordial spirit rushed forward as if he was shuttling through time and space. The spark of electricity in front of him seemed to be right in front of him, but in fact, it was extremely far away. Du Xiaofu was extremely careful and did not dare to be careless. The power of his primordial spirit moved forward cautiously. There could not be any accidents. If he failed, not only would all his previous efforts be wasted, but his primordial spirit would also be severely injured. More importantly, he could not afford to fail. At this moment, time seemed to have lost its meaning. It was very long, but also like an instant. The spark of electricity in front of him became more and more intense. The light screen spread out, like the exit of a passage. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit shuttled through the spark of electricity carefully. In an instant, the space widened. A wave of sinister energy filled the space, accompanied by a strong, evil aura. The next moment, a huge, dark space appeared in Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. It was covered in dark clouds and filled with demonic qi. It was terrifying and eerie. There were many mountains and many strange plants growing there. It gave people an extremely oppressive feeling. There were several towering mountains that were gathered together. They were densely covered with strange dark talisman runes. There was a huge black palace on top of these mountains. It was so huge that it was terrifying. In front of it, a giant beast that was thousands of feet long seemed extremely small. A familiar aura. When his primordial spirit swept across the huge and terrifying hall, Du Xiaofu immediately felt a familiar aura coming from the depths of the huge hall. The aura was the same as the 3,000 thunder that he was connected to. They were invisibly connected. Master. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit trembled. He immediately followed the aura and rushed toward the hall. There were many demonic beasts and evil spirits in front of the hall. Their eyes were blood red and their auras were terrifying. At this moment, there was no reaction. They could not sense Du Xiaofu's approach. Inside the hall, there was a flickering light screen. Huge stone pillars were densely covered with ferocious demonic beasts and strange talisman patterns. It made people tremble for no reason. The hall was too Xiaofu. Demonic beasts and evil spirits were of powerful demonic beasts and evil spirits occupied. Following the familiar fluctuation of aura, Du Xiaofu passed through it, and he quickly arrived at an enormous and dim hall. This large hall was vast and towered into the peak of a mountain. At the center of the large hall, there were 3 figures seated cross-legged. Their bodies were shrouded in dense demonic qi as they surrounded a stone pillar that was 5 feet in diameter. On this stone pillar, strange talisman runes were densely covered, emitting a terrifying aura. On the stone pillar, there was a figure covered in blazing flames and electric arcs. At a closer look, there was a figure wrapped within the fiercely burning electric arcs. His long black hair was disheveled and draped over his shoulders. Electric arcs were emitted from his body. He appeared to be around 50 years old. His crimson long robes also seemed to have flames rising at this moment. The strange talisman patterns on the stone pillar were like chains that tightly wrapped around the figure. They passed through the old man's forehead and emitted a strange aura. The blazing flames and electric arcs burning on the old man's body were unable to destroy the strange talisman patterns. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit trembled violently when he saw the old man's figure. The old man's face was slightly older than before. However, how could Du Xiaofu forget that this was his master? He had been captured by the devil religion and had been imprisoned here. Looking at the old man's face being bound by the devil qi, it was a great pain and torture. This was his master, who had treated him like his own son. Seeing his master being treated like this, Du Xiaofu's heart ached and a monstrous chill spread out. At this moment, the closed eyes of the weapon venerable seemed to have sensed something. His eyes trembled under the cover of his messy hair, and then he slowly struggled to open his eyes. His eyes, which were supposed to be filled with flames and lightning, were now a bit muddy and dim. Seeing his master open his eyes, Du Xiaofu finally couldn't help it. He used the power of his origin soul to take the form of a figure. His body trembled as he landed in the hall and knelt down on one knee. His voice was hoarse and trembling as he said, "Master, disciple is unfilial and has made you suffer." When Du Xiaofu's illusory primordial spirit appeared, the eyes of the weapon saint froze and his body couldn't help but tremble. Looking at the young man kneeling in front of him, the venerable weapon master's eyes began to flicker with flame runes under his thick eyebrows. From the depths of his throat, he said in a hoarse voice, "Xiaofu, my disciple." "Master!" Du Xiaofu's voice trembled. His heart-wrenching pain completely erupted when he heard his master's voice. Good. With such a disciple, even if I, Xiahou Fenglei, die, it will be worth it." Xiahou Fenglei smiled as lightning surged around his body. How could he not know how strong and powerful a primordial spirit was for a primordial spirit to appear here? It hadn't been long, but this little guy had already reached this step. It was likely that he had already stepped into the legendary realm. "Master, your disciple will definitely come to save you as soon as possible." Du Xiaofu's eyes were red and his voice was choked with sobs. "No, this place is not as simple as you think. Hurry up and leave. With a disciple like you, I, Xiahou Fenglei, have no regrets in my life." The weapon saint shook his head. His disciple was no longer the same as before, but he also knew that this place was not ordinary. "Kid, hurry up and leave. A devil king is coming." At the same time, Hua Leizi's voice came out from Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. "Master, your disciple will definitely come back to save you." Du Xiaofu's voice was firm and firm. As his voice fell, his eyes trembled and the illusory primordial spirit suddenly disappeared. Swish! As Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit disappeared, a hair-raising aura suddenly appeared in the hall. The space distorted, and a middle-aged man in armor walked out. He didn't look old, but his black hair reached his shoulders. He had a strong body and strange runes flashed on his black armor. He was one of the 9 devil kings of the devil religion, the Devil Emperor. He's really here. Looking at the place where Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit had just disappeared, the Devil Emperor's eyes were gloomy. Then, he turned around and looked at the weapon saint, Xiahou Fenglei, and said, "Keeping you alive is indeed useful. It seems that you're really important to that kid. However, this time, he's dead for sure. He won't be able to return. If my disciple was so easy to deal with, you wouldn't have waited until today. The weapon saint looked at the Jew Devil Emperor and said, Chapter 22-29. If it weren't for the spiritual thunder in your body, you wouldn't be qualified to be here. I can turn you into ashes with a single finger. When that kid comes, there's no point in keeping you alive. It's finally time to harvest the large amount of resources I've invested in you. Jew Demon Emperor said gloomily. I feel that sooner or later, you'll die at the hands of my disciple. Perhaps that day is not far away, Weapon Master said flatly. When that kid comes, it'll be the end of you and your disciple. Jew Demon Emperor's face twitched gloomily, and then he disappeared. A smile surfaced on the face of the venerated Equipment Master, who was wrapped in a fierce flame, as he watched the disappearing figure of the Geo Demon Emperor. The fact that the Demon Emperor placed such importance on him, to the point that he could not forget about him, was enough to show that his disciple had likely caused the Devil Sect to suffer a lot, leaving the Devil Sect helpless. Xiaofu is my disciple. You must be careful. Weapon Master Xiahou Fenglei frowned immediately. He knew his disciple's character and temper very well. How could he not come? Even if he knew that this place was extremely dangerous, he would still come. Hula! In the middle of Weapon Master's frowning brows, the mysterious runes on the mysterious chain of runes kept flashing like flowing water. It seemed that something was constantly flowing into his mind, causing the blazing arcs of lightning around him to burn even brighter. In the desolate country, Du Xiaofu had been sitting cross-legged in the main hall of the palace, like an old monk in meditation. Qi. A wave of primordial spirit vibrated around Du Xiaofu, and the blazing arcs of lightning between his eyebrows gradually dimmed and finally disappeared. If I'm not wrong, your master is imprisoned in one of the Devil Emperor palaces, Hua Lei said in Du Xiaofu's mind. He had entered Du Xiaofu's Naiwan palace in advance to help Du Xiaofu find Weapon Master Xiahou Fenglei at the critical moment. However, Du Xiaofu had already succeeded on his own. At the last moment, when Du Xiaofu lost control of his emotions, he reminded Du Xiaofu that a Devil Emperor was coming. The situation seems to be a little better than I imagined. The Devil Emperors of the Devil religion all have Devil Emperor palaces, and each Devil Emperor palace should only be guarded by one Devil Emperor. If we encounter that Devil God, it will be really troublesome. Hua Lei recognized the Devil Emperor palace with Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. He also learned of Du Xiaofu's purpose from the Devil Emperor palace. He frowned slightly and continued, however, with the Devil Emperor's strength, I'm afraid that he has already discovered your tracks. He will definitely be prepared and waiting for you to go rescue him. No matter what, we have to go rescue my master. The Devil Emperor probably won't expect us to be so fast. If we end the battle quickly, we might have a chance. Thinking of his master who was imprisoned in the palace, Du Xiaofu felt a heart-wrenching pain. No matter what, he had to rescue his master and end the battle quickly. He might have a chance, but when the Devil Gods and Devil Emperors recovered, the chances would be even slimmer. If we take them by surprise and end the battle quickly, we might have a chance. Master Hua Lei thought about it and agreed with Du Xiaofu. He raised his eyebrows and red and blue lightning flashed in his eyes. He said, however, if we can invite the old rock from the golden-winged rocks, the old tree from the Fong family, and the old bird from the Phoenix family, then our chances will be even higher. Hua Lei knew about the relationship between Du Xiaofu and the golden-winged Great Peng clan. His relationship with the Fong Ji clan wasn't bad either. Also, the relationship between the dragon and the Phoenix clan wasn't trivial. If Du Xiaofu could ask, it wouldn't be a big problem. At that time, he would be much more relaxed and safe. It's too late. Let's ask those seniors. I'm afraid that the Devil Emperor will be fully prepared. Du Xiaofu shook his head. If the Devil Emperor of the Devil Emperor's palace really found them, he would definitely be fully prepared. If they asked the golden-winged Great Peng clan, the Great Luan sect, and Mount Wudong for help, the Devil Emperor would have more time to prepare. At this moment, with their strength and Huolei Laozu's help, they would have the greatest chance to launch a surprise attack at lightning speed. All right. Hua Lei's face twitched when he heard that. He looked very helpless. Everything in the main hall calmed down and the mighty aura dissipated. Is the Rock Emperor all right? The old monster green fox stuck his head out of the main hall and asked Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing, who were next to him. Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing also looked serious. They had rarely seen Du Xiaofu take something so seriously. Looking at what happened just now, they were quite suspicious and nervous at this moment. Hiss! It was also at this moment that Du Xiaofu's tightly shut eyes slowly opened. A bright light flashed in his eyes as he stood up. Father, Rock Emperor, little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and the old monster green fox came to Du Xiaofu's side. The three of them secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Don't worry. I need your help. It should be quite dangerous. Du Xiaofu said to Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing. What else haven't you done? Go. Du Xiaoyao nodded. There's nothing to be afraid of. Little Xingxing didn't take it seriously. Du Xiaofu smiled at Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing. Naturally, he had nothing to say to Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing. My master, Xiahou Fenglei, the venerable weapon, was captured by the devil religion. He is now in a devil emperor's palace, guarded by a devil emperor. As his disciple, I dare not forget my master's kindness. I can't let my master suffer anymore, so I want to go to the devil emperor's palace to save him. Du Xiaofu looked at the old monster green fox and said seriously, You are the guardian sage of the heavenly beast palace, but this is my personal matter and it is extremely dangerous. Therefore, I have to inform you. If it is inconvenient for you to go, I won't blame you. If you can help me, I will remember your kindness and be very grateful. The old monster green fox was a little surprised. He had heard that the master of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, was an elder of the ancient Heaven sect. He guessed that the master of the ancient Heaven sect was just a nominal master of the Demon King. Even the Mo family behind the ancient Heaven sect could not train such an abnormal disciple, let alone the small ancient Heaven sect. At this moment, hearing that the Demon King had another master, the old monster green fox became curious. What kind of master is he to be able to train such an abnormal disciple? Is he a super master who has been living in seclusion? Rock Emperor, you are too polite. Of course, I will go with you. I will go through fire and water and die 1,000 times. Although the old monster green fox was surprised, he naturally knew that he should make this choice. If Du Xiaoyao and little Xingxing went with him, it was enough to prove how important this matter was to the Demon King. Once he succeeded, his position in the desolate country would be firmly established. Hearing the old monster green fox's words, Du Xiaofu smiled. Let's go. As soon as he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu disappeared from the main hall. Now, they needed to attack as quickly as possible. They had to race against time. Du Xiaoyao, little Xingxing, and the old monster green fox followed closely and disappeared. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. For figures rose into the sky from the main hall of the imperial palace like lightning and appeared in the void. Although I don't know what you want to do, I am your father. I won't hold you back. We are a family. Let me do something for my brother. Suddenly, these voices were heard, and the void fluctuated. Du Tingxian and Du Xiaojing appeared in front of Du Xiaofu and the other three. In the moonlit night, their eyes were dazzling with lightning. One of them was as tall and straight as a spear, looking extraordinary. The other was graceful and charming, like an immortal who had descended to the mortal world. With the moonlight pouring down and her hair swaying slightly, she looked otherworldly. Okay. Looking at the two figures in front of him, Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly and nodded. Du Xiaofu didn't want to disturb his drunkard father and sister who had just reunited, but now it seemed that he was treating them as outsiders. When he saw Du Tingxian and Du Xiaojing, the old monster green fox was even more confident. The old monster green fox was well aware that Du Xiaoyao, little Xingxing, Du Tingxian, and Du Xiaojing were the Demon King's family. He was also one of them. If he succeeded, he would have a real place in the desolate country. The moonlight shone in the sky, casting a dim yellow light on the surroundings. The magnificent imperial palace stood in the night like a golden island. 6 figures were in the sky, and 6 vast and terrifying auras were quietly fluctuating. Master, I'm coming. In the void, Du Xiaofu looked at the sky in front of him. Golden light flashed in his eyes, and a gust of coldness surged. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Then, The 6 figures tore through the void and disappeared in an instant. The night was dark. The mountains were connected, the rocks overlapped, and the courtyard was fluctuating with a terrifying aura. Under the dim moonlight, 2 young men were wrapped in moksha aura. One of them looked to be in his 30s, and his young face was extremely gloomy. The latter had blonde hair, and his handsome face was a little pale. There was still a strange and gorgeous charm in the depths of his terrifying eyes. These 2 people were Shen Yin from the mysterious talisman sect and Dongli Chihuang, who had been thought to be dead for a long time. I didn't expect him to not only survive, but also step into the Saint Realm. Shen Yin sneered, and his gloomy voice echoed in the deep valley. They had seen with their own eyes that the Demon King was killed by the Demon God. They didn't expect him to appear again. Well, he is destined to die in my hands. Dongli Chihuang's eyes emitted a terrifying light in the night with expectation. If he didn't kill him with his own hands, he would not be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Even if he steps into the Saint Realm, we still have a chance. The catastrophe is coming, and the world will fall into the demon's domain. The 9 families, the Phoenix clan, and the dragons can't even protect themselves. Then, it will be our best chance. Shen Yin looked up at the night sky, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 22:30. I can finally kill him with my own hands. When he sees that I'm still alive, I'm sure the expression on his face will be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. Dongli Chihuang's eyes shone with a cold light as the murderous aura on his body fluctuated, causing the wind to blow and the clouds to surge. Black clouds covered the moon, as if a peerless demon had been born. In the void, the surroundings were pitch black, but there was a faint white glow. Whoosh whoosh, several figures shuttled through the void, stirring up violent spatial turbulence and forming a spatial storm that tore through the void. Even if a peak domain realm cultivator was swept up by this spatial storm, he would be torn to pieces. Just the air currents that shot out from the spatial storm alone were enough to pierce through the void and cut open the physical body of a domain realm expert. Tearing through the void was an extremely dangerous thing to do. Only Saint Realm experts like Du Xiaofu, Du Xiaoyao, and Little Xingxing dared to travel through the void. Of course, even Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, and the others did not dare to be careless when tearing through the void. Tearing through the void was similar to traveling through a spatial wormhole. Although a spatial wormhole was fast, it was not as fast as tearing through the void. However, since a spatial wormhole was opened by an expert, it had already stabilized the space at a certain level. Under normal circumstances, it was difficult to discover anything unexpected. However, tearing through the void was not the same. In the process of tearing through the void, wherever one passed, it could cause the void to collapse at any time. Whoosh whoosh. In the void, Du Xiaofu's figure broke through the void, his body wrapped in golden light. His primordial spirit followed the imprint of his master, the weapon sovereign, which he had found with the 3,000 jolting lightning. Du Xiaofu needed to rescue his master by surprise so that the demon emperor would not be prepared. Therefore, he moved at full speed. The void was originally silent, but wherever Du Xiaofu and the others passed, the void surged, storms swept, and pitch-black spatial cracks spread. There was a fatal danger of the void collapsing at any time. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, the old monster green fox, and the others followed Du Xiaofu through the void with ear-piercing wind-breaking sounds. They followed Du Xiaofu and dashed forward like lightning. The spatial fluctuations they stirred up along the way formed many spatial storms behind them. We're here. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's figure stood in the void. His primordial spirit followed the aura of his master, the venerable weapon. Now that he had the exact coordinates, he finally arrived at the destination. Let's end the battle quickly and prioritize saving people. Don't get entangled. Du Xiaojing's clear eyes blinked. Along the way, she had learned the purpose of this trip from Du Xiaofu. With a flick of her wrist, she waved at the empty space in front of her. A pitch-black spatial crack immediately appeared. Light flashed under her feet, and a graceful figure directly rushed out from the void. We'll take care of everything else. Your priority is to save your master. Du Tingxian said to Du Xiaofu, and then he followed closely behind Du Xiaojing. Let's go. The auras of Little Star, Du Xiaoyao, and the old monster Green Fox surged as they broke through the void. At this moment, a cold light flashed in the depths of Du Xiaofu's determined eyes. Without any hesitation, he followed closely behind them. When Du Xiaofu rushed out and floated in the air, the pitch-black spatial crack behind him also slowly disappeared. At this moment, a huge hall appeared in front of Du Xiaofu, lying on several towering mountains. In front of such a huge hall, the 10,000-meter-long giant beast looked extremely small. The mountain peak and the giant hall seemed to have fused into one. Strange runes filled the air, dusky space, and dense demonic qi. Even with everyone's current cultivation, they could not help but feel extremely uncomfortable in this strange space. If it was someone with a lower cultivation level, they would not dare to stay in this space. This is the place. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes slightly and looked at the huge hall. When he appeared here, he felt the familiar aura of his master's 3,000 jolting thunder. Awu. Following the appearance of several figures, the devil qi in the giant hall below surged. The giant scarlet eyes were like blood moons descending from the sky. Several demonic beasts appeared, roaring ferociously at Du Xiaofu, Little Xingxing, and the others. Devil qi billowed, and the stench of blood filled the air. You're courting death. Little Xingxing let out a cold snort. He immediately waved his small fist, and a golden flame immediately swept out. A high temperature spread apart in an instant. This high temperature and the golden flame were extremely destructive. They instantly collided with the bodies of the couple of demonic beasts. Sharp beast roars were immediately emitted as a couple of demonic beasts were turned into a rain of blood. Who dares to trespass into the Demon King Palace? You're courting death. The sinister voice was like the wailing of ghosts and the howling of gods. Many figures flew out from the gigantic Devil Sovereign Palace. All of them were evil spirit experts, exuding terrifying devil qi. Terrifying auras gushed forth from them. Die! The old monster Green Fox attacked, and a claw print tore through the void. Wherever the claw print passed, the space was distorted. Rip! Several evil spirit experts were directly torn apart and turned into monstrous demon qi. Everyone, be careful. As soon as Du Xiaofu's voice fell, golden light rippled in his eyes, and the soles of his feet rippled. He immediately rushed toward the huge Demon King Palace. Awu! The void trembled, and the demon beasts and evil spirit experts in the Demon King Palace rushed out. However, before they could get close to Du Xiaofu, they exploded in the void. Du Xiaofu did not stop and rushed straight into the Demon King Palace. Saving his master was the most important thing. Bang, bang, bang. Outside the Demon King Palace, Du Tingxian, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, the old monster Green Fox, and Du Xiaojing had already made their moves. Although these demon beasts and evil spirit experts were terrifying and incomparably powerful, they were no match for the current Saint Stage experts such as Du Xiaojing, Du Tingxian, and Little Xingxing. In an instant, they collapsed. Rumble. The earth quaked, the mountains shook, and the mountains swayed. Under the attacks of Du Xiaoyao and the other Saint Stage experts, the huge Demon King Palace also trembled. Whoosh! Inside the Devil Sovereign Palace, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit had already been here once. At this moment, he didn't stop at all. His figure flashed out like a bolt of lightning, and the evil spirit experts and demonic beasts along the way didn't even have time to react. TSK, you've come much faster than I expected. You're really brave. Suddenly, such a voice reverberated in the Demon King Palace. The void in front of him distorted, and demon qi filled the sky. A demon qi claw print seemed to have crossed the void, and wherever it passed, the space distorted as it came down on Du Xiaofu. If you don't have the guts, then don't come. Today, your devil religion will pay the price. Although Du Xiaofu was moving quickly, he was not careless. He immediately stopped, and his eyes darkened. A terrifying and domineering aura suddenly swept out from his body. Chapter 22:31. At the same time, purple lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Roar! a domineering aura swept out with the roar of a dragon and the trumpeting of an elephant. Du Xiaofu's fist, infused with the power of lightning, immediately slammed heavily against the demonic claw. Boom! The two forces collided and the surrounding space immediately shattered with a boom. As space collapsed, the hall collapsed. Boulders rolled down as the earth quaked. Rumble. In an instant, the entire Demon King's hall collapsed. A large number of boulders and palaces fell. Energy surged into the sky as space shattered. Chi-la-la! Du Xiaofu was blown away by the demonic claw in the collapsing Demon King's hall. Humph! Inside the collapsed Devil Emperor Palace, a cold and gloomy snort sounded. Following the falling boulders and the collapsing Devil Emperor Palace, spatial turbulence seemed to explode. A figure flashed out from within, wrapped in devil chi. His body was covered in a strange black devil chi armor. Du Xiaofu halted his retreat. His eyes immediately sank when he saw the figure that had appeared. It was the Jew demon emperor of the devil religion. How could Du Xiaofu forget? The person who had attacked earlier was naturally the Jew demon emperor as well. Judging from the earlier exchange, Du Xiaofu could not help but frown. This demon emperor had recovered too much. If not for the fact that his fleshly body and primordial spirit were impervious to the demonic aura, he would have died just now. You sure came quickly. The Geo-Demon Emperor's young face darkened when he shot out from the collapsing Demon King's hall. He shook his arms and a monstrous demonic aura immediately swept out. He stared at Du Xiaofu coldly and said, "There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. Kid, today will be the death anniversary of your master and disciple." Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and suppressed the surging blood in his body. He raised his eyes slightly and looked at the Geodemon Emperor. He raised his eyebrows and his resolute face immediately darkened. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he said, "I'm afraid you're not enough. It's the Geodemon Emperor. End this quickly. Kill." At the same time, the Geodemon Emperor's appearance and shocking actions immediately attracted the attention of little Xingxing, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaoyao, and Du Xiaojing below the Demon King's hall. Let's deal with the Geodemon Emperor together. Du Xiao, Du Xiaojing, Du Tingxian, Green Fox, and little Xingxing, the Green Fox Monster, and Little, and Xingxing. Space shattered space. The space. The space. The space, and evil demons, and demonic monsters, and Xingxing, as space after that, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, and several other figures shot out in a straight line, intending to help Du Xiaofu. Are you relying on them? The Geodemon Emperor looked at Du Tingxian and the others, who were rushing over from below the Demon King's hall at lightning speed. The Geodemon Emperor sneered and said in a sinister tone, "The whole family is here. There's also that strange dragon and the red-bone horse monkey. What an unexpected harvest. Unfortunately, it's far from enough." As he spoke, the Geodemon Emperor formed a strange handprint in his hand. The huge Demon King's hall trembled incessantly. Several towering dark mountains seemed to come alive in an instant. Strange mysterious runes covered the mountains and several waves of demonic aura soared into the sky. In an instant, they moved horizontally and rotated together, blocking Du Xiaojing, Du Xiaoyao, and the others who were about to rush up. A woo, rumble. Ghosts wailed and gods howled. The earth shook and the mountains shook. In a short moment, monstrous demonic aura gathered from the sky. It seemed endless. Darkness descended. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Black lightning filled the void. It was as if the door to hell had been opened. The ferocious demonic shadow appeared. Other than the huge Demon King's hall above, the surroundings had turned into a demonic domain. The space was isolated and enveloped Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, and the others. It was as if they were pulled into the demonic domain. The vast demonic aura surged, causing Du Xiaofu's heart to tremble. Looking at the sudden change, Du Xiaofu's expression changed. The Geodemon Emperor had indeed prepared for this. This was a terrifying formation. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit red horse monkey could sense that this was far from an ordinary formation. Even Lord Demon God didn't turn you into ashes. I have to say that you're really lucky. Unfortunately, you're still courting death. Once I'm done with you, the redbone horse monkey and the strange dragon will be almost done. Now, your only trump card should be the fire lightning seed. Seeing that the monstrous demonic aura formation had trapped Du Tingxian and the others, the Geodemon Emperor stared coldly at Du Xiaofu and said coldly, "Fire lightning seed. I can feel your aura. Since you're here, why are you hiding?" "Humph, you're really bold, Geodemon Emperor." A thunderous laughter rang out. From Du Xiaofu's forehead, the fire lightning seed's figure flew out. As the space rippled, scarlet-blue flame arcs seeped out from the surrounding void. The blazing aura of destruction quietly spread across the sky. Fire lightning seed. The Geodemon Emperor wasn't surprised at all when he saw the fire lightning seed. It was as if everything was within his expectations. He also knew that the fire lightning seed didn't come with good intentions. The demonic aura on his body rose sharply as he stared at the fire lightning seed. "You want to stop me with just you? Let the great demon emperor come. You're not enough." The fire lightning seed's voice was accompanied by coldness. Scarlet-blue flame arcs fluctuated. His long scarlet-red hair looked real and illusory. His body was like a Maitreya. The Geodemon Emperor must have notified the other demon emperors. "Let's end this quickly. I have no problem stopping this demon emperor. You go and save your master first." At the same time, the fire lightning seed's voice fell into Du Xiaofu's ears. "Fire lightning seed, do you really think it's still the same as before? The one you followed is already dead. You still dare to go against us? Do you really want to die?" The Geodemon Emperor's face was gloomy. He stared at the fire lightning seed coldly, but there was also some fear in his eyes. "You're stalling for time and waiting for the others to come? Then I'll deal with you first." The fire lightning seed's face sank. He waved his arm and a scarlet-blue energy fluctuation surged out from his palm. It was filled with a vast aura, as if it came from ancient times. He immediately slapped the Geodemon Emperor. "Fire lightning seed, it's not your turn to be arrogant here." The Geodemon Emperor's face was gloomy as he took a step forward. Demonic aura leaked out from his black armor. The demonic aura in his body was monstrous. He also threw out a punch. In front of his fist, a large area of the void shattered silently. Bang! Bang! The palm and fist collided. It was as though two meteorites had collided together. A low and deep sonic boom suddenly resounded at the point of collision, deafening everyone's ears. The demonic aura was monstrous. Scarlet-blue lightning spread out, shattering the space and drowning the void. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes and looked at the huge palace in front of him. There was a familiar aura fluctuating there. It was the place where his master was imprisoned. Chapter 22:32. Du Xiaofu gritted his teeth as he looked at the strange array. With the strength of Du Xiaoyao, his sister Du Tingxian, little Xingxing and the rest, it would be difficult for the array to do anything to them. Swoosh! Du Xiaofu's figure was like lightning as he rushed towards the main palace. Saving his master was more important. When the 9 demon emperors saw Du Xiaofu rushing towards the main palace, he did not stop him. The corners of his mouth curled into a sneer as he said to Hualezi, "Hualezi, do you really think that I am afraid of you?" An indifferent and gloomy voice came from the 9 demon emperors' mouth as demonic aura surged and gathered around his body. It was as if he had transformed into a huge demonic shadow. As the demonic aura surged, a palm print was pushed out. The space seemed to have been torn apart as a huge demonic seal condensed and slammed towards Hualezi. This terrifying demonic seal caused the void to tremble violently, and a strange invisible force seeped out, penetrating through every orifice. Walala! A large area of space was silently shattered in an instant, causing one's hair to stand on end. "It won't be a problem to deal with 10 of you." Hualezi's voice was ancient and melodious. Red-blue flames descended from the sky around his body. The energy resonated with the heavens and the earth, giving off an ancient and desolate aura of destruction. Within the mysterious red-blue flames, the vast and mighty energy formed a stormy wave as it swept towards the former's demonic seal. Chi-la-la! The red-blue flames contained the power to destroy all living things. There seemed to be a faint sound of thunder accompanying it. Under this terrifying power, the demonic seal shattered inch by inch. Oomph! The nine-demon emperor seemed to have suffered a loss as he coldly snorted. His huge body was covered in demonic light as his eyes were pitch black like black holes. The surrounding energy of the heavens and the earth became chaotic due to the demonic aura. Without stopping, waves of strange black ripples spread out from his huge body, shaking the space as they swept towards Hualezi. Bang, 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 bang. Awu. Not far away, the strange demonic aura array kept exploding. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Ghosts cried and gods howled. A large area of the world was distorted as the array shook. However, above this array, the strange demonic aura and black talisman runes covered it as if it was connected to the nine nether hell. Endless demonic aura and evil chi rushed down as if it was indestructible. Swoosh, Du Xiaofu editor. Chrissy, Huarlezi arrived at the huge main palace. At this moment, the main hall was still in perfect condition. Strange black runes covered the entire hall densely. Demonic chi floated in the surroundings, and a deep and dark passage extended into the hall. Du Xiaofu slowed his du? Everything was the same as when Du Xiaofu's original soul entered. Inside the hall, there were faint flashes of light. Enormous stone pillars densely covered both sides of the passageway, and they were inscribed with sinister demonic beasts and strange talisman markings, causing one to tremble for no reason. There was the main in the big rumble. Outside the main hall, rumbling sounds could be heard continuously, causing the main hall to shake continuously. In just a few breaths, Du Xiaofu's figure had already arrived in a huge, dim hall. The hall was vast, and it stood on the peak of a towering mountain. Just like what his primordial spirit had seen earlier, Du Xiaofu immediately saw his venerable weapon master, who was bound by a weird black talisman chain on the stone pillar. On the stone pillar, the commotion outside had already alerted Xiahou Fenglei, the weapon venerate. The venerable weapon's face, which was covered by his messy long hair, was solemn as he listened to the rumbling sounds of energy explosions. Xiaofu is my disciple. When Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in the hall, Xiahou Fenglei, the venerable equipment master, who was tied up on the stone pillar, had flame runes dancing in the depths of his turbid and dim eyes. Joy appeared on his face, but he was also incomparably worried. His expression instantly became complicated, and a hoarse voice came out from the depths of his throat. "You child, you shouldn't have come to take risks." Looking at the familiar figure of his disciple, Xiahou Fenglei was happy that he had not misjudged him and had taken in a good disciple. He was even happier that his disciple had achieved so much in such a short period of time and was able to break into this place so quickly. It was enough to show how strong his disciple was. But at the same time, the weapon venerate was solemn and deeply worried. The weapon venerate knew very well how difficult it was to break into this place. With the super experts of the devil religion guarding it, it was even more difficult to break through than a dragon's pool, a tiger's den, a mountain of blades, and a sea of flames. The devil religion had kept him alive not only to obtain everything they wanted, but also to lure his disciple here. This was definitely not a good place. How can I not come when Master is suffering? I will take Master away now. When he saw the old figure, who was bound on the stone pillar and wrapped in blazing flames and arcs of lightning, with his long black hair messily draped over his shoulders, Du Xiaofu's heart could not help but tremble. His nose was sour, and he immediately rushed forward. But it was also at this moment that Du Xiaofu's figure, which had just appeared, suddenly stopped. His eyes looked at the three figures entrenched around the stone pillar. In this vast hall, the three figures were currently sitting cross-legged. Their bodies were shrouded in dense demonic aura, and they surrounded the stone pillar. Demonic aura fluctuated, and their faces were expressionless, as if they were demonized stone statues. Du Xiaofu had noticed these three figures sitting cross-legged not long ago when his Yuan spirit came here, but he did not pay much attention to them. Du Xiaofu's heart trembled as he looked at these demonized stone statues, and the corners of his eyes could not help but twitch. What caused the corners of Du Xiaofu's eyes and heart to twitch at the same time was not only the strange demonic aura around these three figures, but also the fact that although their faces were hazy, they gave Du Xiaofu a sense of familiarity. Chi. In a short moment, as Du Xiaofu approached, three pairs of eyes on the expressionless faces of the three figures, who were sitting calmly like demonized stone statues, opened at the same time. 6 streams of demonic aura shot out like pitch-black lightning. The three figures also emitted a low ka-ka sound of bones rubbing against each other. The three figures stood up together, and their bodies flashed. The three figures were like 3 straight javelins, and they instantly appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. The three figures were shrouded in demonic aura, and 6 pairs of eyes were like black lightning. Their empty eyes were indifferent and filled with killing intent, and their gazes were merciless. Qi-la, the demonic aura fluctuated, and the aura was vast and intimidating. The three figures did not stop for a moment. Like black lightning, they instantly brought about a fierce and terrifying killing intent and swept towards Du Xiaofu at the same time. The 3 streams of demonic aura and killing intent were endless, and they shattered the void. They were extremely powerful. Xiaofu, have mercy. At the same time, the voice of the weapon sovereign sounded in Du Xiaofu's ears. Chapter 22:33. Du Xiaofu listened to his master, the revered weapon master's shout. Golden light surged in his hands, and as if he had flicked his sleeves, the golden light surged. Vaguely, there seemed to be a golden-winged rock crossing the void. It was overbearing and fierce, and instantly, the three figures were forced to retreat. Although the three figures were strong, they were not much of a threat to Du Xiaofu with his current cultivation. Thud, thud, thud. When the three figures were pushed back, they hit the stone pillars at the edge of the hall. The stone pillars that were covered with mysterious runes swayed, and the hall trembled. Du Xiaofu's gaze was also fixed on the three figures as he trembled inwardly. Although the three figures who had just attacked were filled with demonic qi, Du Xiaofu could still sense a familiar aura from them. The three figures staggered back, and the devil qi on their bodies dissipated. 6 eyes looked at Du Xiaofu, and the devil qi became more and more terrifying. His expression was cold and emotionless. At this moment, Du Xiaofu carefully looked at the three figures in front of him. Suddenly, his eyes trembled as if he was struck by lightning. At the same time, his primordial spirit rippled through the devil qi. Under the devil qi, Du Xiaofu recognized the 3 familiar figures. Rumble. The devil qi surged, and the hall trembled. The 3 figures that were pushed back just now attacked again. The 3 attacks intertwined, and the devil qi filled the sky. They swept towards Du Xiaofu again like lightning. Whoosh! Du Xiaofu's figure floated out from the 3 intertwined devil qi attacks. He turned and looked at the 3 figures. His voice trembled as he shouted, "Eldest senior uncle, 5th senior uncle, 7th senior uncle." How could Du Xiaofu forget these 3 figures that were shrouded in devil qi? They were eldest senior uncle Kuang Zun, 5th senior uncle 9 Lives Sovereign GMO, and 7th senior uncle Qian Xing, who had disappeared when the 7-star hall was destroyed. Back then, when the 7-star hall was annihilated, many elders, senior brothers, and junior brothers were killed, and blood flowed like a river. 5th Martial Uncle 9 Lives Venerable GMO helped him and little Xingxing escape with the help of his space martial vein. Du Xiaofu had never forgotten that scene, and it was still vivid in his mind. Later on, there were rumors that eldest senior uncle Revered Kuang and 5th senior uncle Venerable GMO had fallen into the hands of the devil religion. 7th senior uncle Venerable Qianxing's whereabouts were unknown and might have escaped. Du Xiaofu had been asking the Moon Shadow Hall to search for clues and information, but to no avail. He did not expect that 7th senior uncle Venerable Qianxing had also fallen into the hands of the devil religion. However, when they heard Du Xiaofu's hoarse shout, the 3 figures turned around, but they did not move at all. Their eyes were still empty, cold, and merciless. "Xiaofu, your senior uncle and junior uncle have been controlled by the devil religion. Their primordial spirits have been corroded by the devil qi, and they have lost their sense of self, Xiahou Fenglei said with a solemn and angry expression. He knew the consequences of devil qi corroding the primordial spirits. Rumble. In an instant, the three figures pounced again. Deep in their empty eyes, a blood-red color appeared. Their aura rose to the peak as they activated three martial veins. In the vast hall, three streams of devil qi were connected invisibly. The combined attack of the three was probably enough to deal with a half-saint. Du Xiaofu frowned slightly, but it was not because of the power of his eldest senior uncle and the other two. Even if they were true Sage Realm experts, Du Xiaofu would not be too concerned about them, let alone these three that could only contend against half-saints. Du Xiaofu frowned. He was worried that his eldest senior uncle and the other two's primordial spirits had been corroded by the devil qi, and he was unable to harm them. He was even more worried that his senior uncle and the other two's primordial spirits had been corroded by the devil qi, and the consequences would be too severe. Rumble. The three attacks shook the hall and instantly engulfed Du Xiaofu. The power of the three martial veins was vast and mighty, especially Jimo's space martial vein, which was able to affect space differently. When the attacks arrived in front of him, the golden light in Du Xiaofu's eyes rippled. In an instant, a golden light shone from his body, and a vast and domineering aura spread out, causing the surrounding space to tremble violently. Screech, the golden light exploded like the sun, and the cry of a rock that could pierce through clouds and shatter stone resounded. Amidst the golden light, golden runes and mysterious runes appeared, and it looked as though the phantom of a golden-winged rock was flapping its wings as it soared into the sky. The power of the attack instantly destroyed the devil qi and suppressed Quangzun, Nine Lives Sage, and Sage Qianxing. Du Xiaofu forcibly suppressed the three of them with brute force. Senior uncles and senior uncles, this disciple is sorry. At the same time, Du Xiaofu lightly shouted and formed a seal with his hands. A silver-gold light rippled from his forehead, and three resplendent silver-gold lights with arcs of electricity instantly shot into the three's foreheads. As the three silver-gold lights entered their bodies, the three's emotionless eyes suddenly closed, and the devil qi around their bodies seemed to have been dispelled. In the short span of 2 breaths, the 3 pairs of eyes that had been tightly closed opened again. Although there was a sense of loss in the depths of their emotionless eyes, they began to show signs of emotion. When they saw Du Xiaofu in front of them, the 6 pairs of eyes simultaneously changed in surprise and disbelief. Xiaofu, Quangzun, Nine Lives Sage, GMO Mingchun, and Sage Qianxing were very surprised. Xiaofu, watch out. At this moment, the weapon sovereign Xiahou Fenglei's urgent shout rang out once again. Demonic qi silently gushed out from the hall as a giant, pitch-black hand smashed through space like a bolt of black lightning, instantly appearing behind Du Xiaofu. Humph! Du Xiaofu had already felt the movement behind him. His face darkened. He turned around at lightning speed and waved his right arm. A domineering aura swept out in an instant. He punched at the huge demon qi handprint. Boom! Golden light exploded, and the sound of dragons and elephants trumpeting reverberated throughout the hall. The muffled sound was like thunder. The two instantly collided, and the golden light and devil qi rolled back at the same time, leaving behind many pitch-black spatial cracks in the hall. Quangzun, Nine Lives Sage, and Sage Qianxing, who had just recovered some of their senses, trembled and staggered back. Pong, pong, pong. The power was too terrifying, and the hall shook violently. Even with the strange reinforcement force, it finally couldn't withstand the huge impact and began to crack before exploding with a rumbling sound. Rumble. Along with the collapse of the mountain, huge rocks rolled down, and energy blasted out in all directions. However, the stone pillar imprisoning weapon sovereign Xiahou Fenglei was as stable as a rock and didn't shatter. The strange black talisman runes were still running through Xiahou Fenglei's forehead like a devil chain, and energy rippled, surrounded by blazing flames and lightning. The stone pillar stood at the peak of the mountain, and the vast hall around it collapsed into ruins, but it was still intact. Chapter 22:34. Fourth Brother. Wild Venerable, Nine Lives Venerable, and Venerable Qianxing instantly retreated to weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei's side. They were helpless in the face of the strange black demonic chain that bound weapon venerable Xiahou Fenglei. Qi, the hall collapsed, and a figure was pushed back in a straight line, crashing into many falling boulders. Then, a figure was revealed, with blood at the corner of his mouth and a shocked expression on his face. The one who was injured was an old man in his 50s. His black robe fluttered in the wind, and his long yellow hair was filled with black demonic qi. The old man's wide forehead was frowning, and there was a mysterious mark on his forehead that was eye-catching, like a skull imprinted with gold leaf, emitting a frightening and strange cold light. Whoosh whoosh, at the same time, four figures landed in front of the old man. They had different expressions, but they were all wrapped in demonic qi, and their auras were frightening. The first was a short-haired, middle-aged man with lightning shuttling around him. His eyes were like lightning, making one's soul tremble. 5 demon envoys. Yes. Du Xiaofu pushed back the former. The hall shook and cracked, and the mountain collapsed, but his figure did not move. He looked at the old man who had just launched a sneak attack. How could Du Xiaofu not recognize him? He had fought one of the 5 demon envoys of the devil religion, the earth demon envoy. The short-haired middle-aged man was the thunder demon envoy. It was not the first time Du Xiaofu had seen the other 3. They were the wind demon envoy, the fire demon envoy, and the ice demon envoy of the devil religion. The 5 demon envoys were all gathered here. Looking at the 5 demon envoys in front of him, Du Xiaofu secretly raised his eyebrows. Back in the heavenly devil battlefield, Du Xiaofu had fought with the earth demon envoy. The 5 demon envoys were about the same in terms of strength and cultivation, but judging from the situation just now, it was not difficult for Du Xiaofu to know that the earth demon envoy's strength had once again soared. Although he had not yet set foot into the true Saint Realm, he was not far from it. He had already taken one step into the Saint Realm. This kind of progress was too astonishing, and it was likely related to the demon god's complete escape. Rumble. A whir. Bang, bang, bang. The main hall was shattered. Demonic qi overflowed from all directions. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Ghosts wept and gods howled. The muffled sound of energy exploded like thunder. The battle between Master Flamespark and 9 Demon Emperor was especially shocking. It was as if the end of the world had arrived, and revered Kuang, revered 9 Lives, and revered Qian Xing were completely flabbergasted. Xiahou Fenglei, Crazy Venerable, 9 Lives Venerable, and Qian Xing Venerable, who couldn't approach the stone pillars, stood in front of the stone pillars and watched the shocking scene in the sky. Just the aura alone was enough to make them unable to resist. Xiaofu, be careful. The demonic qi of the 5 figures soared to the sky. 5 terrifying demonic qi soared to the sky, making Crazy Venerable, 9 Lives Venerable, and Qian Xing Venerable look serious. However, the 3 of them were also secretly shocked. Du Xiaofu was able to push back one of them just now. It hadn't been long since Du Xiaofu's strength had reached such a terrifying level. The revered weapon was bound, and his body was covered in raging lightning and flames. He looked at the 5 demon envoys in front of Du Xiaofu and secretly narrowed his eyes. We meet again. Today, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. The earth demon envoy, who had just stabilized his body, stared at Du Xiaofu. The demonic qi on his body surged, and his figure gradually became clear. His eyes emitted a terrifying cold light. Du Xiaofu looked at the earth demon envoy, the fire demon envoy, the ice demon envoy, the wind demon envoy, and the thunder demon envoy in front of him. He felt that the earth demon envoy's aura had increased a lot, and the other 4 demon envoys' aura had also increased a lot. They were all one step away from entering the Saint Realm. 5 demon envoys, today will be the interest of the interest. Let's settle this together. Du Xiaofu shouted coldly. As his voice spread out, the golden light on his body suddenly skyrocketed. Although the aura of the 5 demon envoys had skyrocketed a lot, and they were already one step away from entering the Saint Realm, Du Xiaofu's strength had also increased by leaps and bounds. He wasn't even afraid of a Saint Realm expert, let alone 5 demon envoys who hadn't really entered the Saint Realm. I know that you've broken through to the Saint Realm. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the earth demon envoy's face turned completely gloomy. His chest heaved up and down as he slightly raised his head to look at Du Xiaofu. His eyes gradually surged with ruthlessness, accompanied by a monstrous demon chi that swept out like a storm. He said, "But you still won't be able to take anyone away today. You won't be able to escape even if you have wings." The gloomy voice reverberated in the void. As soon as the Earth Demon Envoy's voice fell, wind and clouds surged in the void, accompanied by rolling dark clouds. In an instant, a monstrous demon chi filled the sky, accompanied by flashes of lightning and roars of thunder. Rumble, at the same time, the Thunder Demon Envoy, the Wind Demon Envoy, the Fire Demon Envoy, and the Ice Demon Envoy moved at the same time, vaguely connecting with the 5 demon envoys. Following that, the demon chi surged, and the void around the 5 demon envoys seemed to have been torn apart. The heaven and earth began to tremble violently. "Let's end this quickly and get rid of this brat as soon as possible." The Thunder Demon Envoy arrived in front of them, his voice like thunder as strange black lightning flashed. As soon as the Thunder Demon Envoy's voice rang out, the 5 demon envoys formed hand seals. The surrounding space began to rumble, and the energy in the area began to gather towards the 5 figures. Something strange. When this happened, the 9 lives Venerable, Mad Venerable, and Venerable Qianxing's bodies suddenly trembled. Their eyes were fixed on the 5 demon envoys in the sky. As the 5 demon envoys formed hand seals, a strange invisible energy permeated the area. The demon chi surged endlessly, as if it could devour a person's Xian chi and Yuan spirit. It made one's heart beat faster for no reason, as if it was constantly being hit by an invisible force, as if it was about to explode. This terrifying feeling caused Venerable Qianxing, Mad Venerable, and 9 lives Venerable to turn pale. Their hairs stood on end, and fear and palpitations climbed up from the depths of their Yuan spirits. Woo-woo. Everything happened very quickly. As the 5 demon envoys rapidly formed hand seals, their eyes flickered with black, demonic light. They actually let out ghostly cries from their throats. The 5 demon envoys moved together, and the 5 of them stood separately. They were faintly connected in the air, like a strange formation. The demon chi fluctuated like a wave. Waves of strange energy seeped out of the void, and in an instant, it flowed endlessly into the 5 demon envoys' bodies, and then all of them connected. Rumble. At that moment, Du Xiaofu watched in surprise as the demon chi on the 5 demon envoys turned as black as ink. Terrifying black talisman runes rippled, spreading across the sky. At the same time, the 5 demon envoys' auras rose in a strange, straight line. In a short time, they had crossed the heavenly mode of the Saint Realm. Chapter 22:35. Brat, even though you've broken through to the Saint Realm, you still can't escape from us. Demonic Envoy Laimo opened his mouth, and the ink-like demonic chi around him started to cover the sky as he spoke. Black fog surged up into the sky, and bloodlight and lightning flashed out from his eyes. They were like 2 blood moon lightning balls, and they were exceptionally terrifying in the midst of the black fog. Laimo Envoy and the other 4 were many times stronger than before. Honorable Equipment, Honorable 9 Lives, Honorable Kuang, and Honorable Qianxing's faces were extremely solemn. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. He was also quite shocked at this moment. He didn't expect the 5 demon envoys to have such a strange technique. No wonder they were so fearless. This strange method was actually able to allow the 5 demon envoys to step into the powerful Saint Realm. It was truly astonishing. This is getting interesting. Then, Du Xiaofu sneered. It wasn't impossible to deal with 5 Saint Realm initial stage experts. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Laimo Envoy, Earthimo Envoy, and the others were furious. Demonic chi surged, filling the void. Brat, no one can save you today. Kill. As soon as his voice fell, Earthimo Envoy emitted a monstrous killing intent. Demonic clouds rolled around his body, and the void trembled. A sharp claw mark rapidly expanded in the void, as if it wanted to crush the sky. It tore 5 abyss-like black spatial cracks, drowning everything in its path. He took the initiative to attack Du Xiaofu. As his power increased, Earthimo Envoy's attack was terrifying. Even Honorable Kwong and the others felt uneasy from afar. With such a claw mark in the air, its power was many times stronger than before. Du Xiaofu's brows raised slightly, and he didn't waste any more words. He raised his head, and instead of retreating, he moved forward. A purple flame fingerprint flashed out, and dazzling runes flashed out, and a terrifying blazing heat suddenly swept out. The purple flame burned the demonic chi. Accompanied by the purple flame demonic phoenix's supreme beast aura, it instantly destroyed Earth Mo Envoy's claw mark. Ding ding! As the claw print pierced through the void, Earth Demon Envoy's body was forced back again, and although his situation was much better than before, he was still in a difficult situation. Let's attack together and end this quickly. The Thunder Devil Envoy's face was grim and cold. His voice was filled with chilling intent as his demonic chi rippled. He knew that this Du Xiaofu before him was extremely strong. He was extremely perverted and had even managed to escape from the hands of the demonic god previously. Therefore, he did not dare to be careless. Set up the formation. Old Demon Envoy had been beaten twice, a fierce light flashing in his eyes as a monstrous demonic chi burst out from his body like a storm. Set up the formation. In an instant, Wind Devil Envoy, Fire Devil Envoy, Ice Devil Envoy, Earth Devil Envoy, and Lightning Devil Envoy moved. The five of them stood high up in the air, vaguely connected, forming a joint attack formation, trapping Du Xiaofu within. Brat, you will know how strong we are. Old Demon Envoy sneered. He knew that this brat in front of him was perverted and unbelievably strong. However, their strength had increased tremendously, and they were no different from 5 Saint Realm experts. With a joint attack formation, they did not believe that they could not deal with Du Xiaofu. After all, this brat had just stepped into the Saint Realm not long ago. Is that so? I do want to know how strong you guys are. I'm afraid that you guys won't be able to withstand a single blow. Du Xiaofu looked at the 5 of them and said calmly. He was not afraid of true Saint Realm experts, let alone 5 Saint Realm experts who had forcefully stepped into the Saint Realm. Wild Sovereign, 9 Lives Sovereign, Qian Xing Sovereign, and the others could not help but feel their eyelids twitching when they heard Du Xiaofu's words. This brat, how long has it been since they entered the Saint Realm? He's still as arrogant as before, perhaps even more arrogant than before. One should know that the aura of the 5 Saint Realm experts was comparable to the legendary Saint Realm experts. Saint Realm was the pinnacle of existence in the world. However, they seemed to be indifferent in front of this brat. TSK, brat. Let's see what else you can do. The demon envoy sneered. His figure moved and rushed out amidst the raging demonic aura. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness as a monstrous fiendish aura swept out like a storm. Get lost, Du Xiaofu shouted. His figure did not move. He flicked his sleeve and golden light burst out. Golden talisman runes spread out like clouds in the sky. The faint shadow of a giant rock's golden wings condensed and collided violently with the demon envoy in an instant. Rumble. The runes on the collision shone brightly. Waves of terrifying energy fluctuations spread out in all directions and shook the void. One is not enough. Come at me together. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared in front of the demon envoy like a ghost. Golden light burst out from his body and his aura was overbearing. His fist was filled with unparalleled disdain and supreme sharpness as it blasted towards the demon envoy without mercy. Thunder Demon swallowing space. The demon envoy's expression changed drastically in the face of Du Xiaofu's sudden appearance. Such might and speed caused his heart to palpitate. His hand seals were formed and demonic aura swept out. It was accompanied by strange lightning as it transformed into a demonic beast. It opened its mouth and swallowed Du Xiaofu's punch. Your appetite is too small. You can't swallow it. Seeing this, Du Xiaofu sneered. His fist was not affected at all, and he directly punched out, slamming into the demonic shadow exotic beast. A terrifying and domineering aura swept out in an instant. Rumble. A muffled sound like thunder. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, shattering the void. Demonic aura and golden light intertwined. Humph. Although it was not a direct hit from Du Xiaofu's punch, A muffled groan was emitted from the demon envoy's throat as he was forced back in the void. The demonic thunder envoy only managed to stabilize his body after he was dozens of feet away. He looked at Du Xiaofu with a shocked expression. At this moment, he had the strength of an initial sage stage expert. However, he was unable to withstand a single blow from the other party. This brat is very strange. Don't hold back anymore. Suppress him with all your might. The wind demon envoy, fire demon envoy, and ice demon envoy's faces darkened. Suppress him with all your might. The earth demon envoy and the demon envoy stepped forward once again. Rumble. 5 monstrous energy fluctuations surged. At this moment, the auras of the 5 demon envoys had reached their peak. As demonic aura surged, waves of violent demonic aura, lightning, earth, wind, fire, and ice energy swept out from the 5 of them like a storm, causing half of the sky to scatter. At this moment, the demonic aura spread across the sky and filled the vast sky. At this moment, the killing intent of the 5 demon envoys soared to the heavens. Their 5 auras had reached their peak. 5 pairs of terrifying blood-red eyes and pitch-black demonic aura was like rolling dark clouds that covered thousands of miles. It was frightening and caused one's hair to stand on end. With just the 5 of you? I'll kill you all today. Du Xiaofu raised his head and laughed like thunder. Golden light surged from his body, and a strange golden light soared into the sky behind him. Chapter 22:36. Golden light shot up into the sky, forming feather-like fragments on Du Xiaofu's body, forming a golden armor that covered his entire body. Golden light filled the sky, and the golden feathers on the armor resembled those of a golden-winged rock. Layer upon layer, they emerged from Du Xiaofu's body, forming a magnificent golden armor. The cries of the golden-winged rock pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks, and a domineering aura swept through the void. At the same time, golden light erupted from Du Xiaofu's back, shining brightly. A pair of golden-winged rock wings appeared behind Du Xiaofu's back, and his aura soared to the heavens, connecting with his flesh and bones. Boom! Boom! The blue spirit armor and golden-winged rock wings appeared, and the heavens trembled as golden light filled the sky. At this moment, Du Xiaofu seemed to have transformed into a true golden rock, and he intended to soar into the sky and soar through the sky. This kind of aura and magnificence shocked Kuang Zun and the others. Feeling the terrifying aura erupting from Du Xiaofu's body, Kuang Zun and the others felt their hearts tremble violently. No wonder that Brat didn't care about the 5 super experts of the devil religion. It turned out that he had reached such a terrifying level. Brat, it's useless. Sensing Du Xiaofu's aura, Lei Emoji's eyes narrowed, but then his face twitched, and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled around him. Now that the 5 of them had joined forces, how could they be intimidated by a brat? Let's finish this quickly. Lei Emoji sneered. His hands trembled in his sleeves, and demonic chi fluctuated. His strange claws were like ghostly sharp swords, slightly curved, and a terrifying power gathered, tearing through the void. Hearing this, Wind Emoji, Fire Emoji, and Ice Emoji nodded with gloomy faces. Demonic chi surged wildly, forming a defense around their bodies and causing the void to rumble. Devil Spirit Void Swallowing. In the blink of an eye, the Earth Demon Envoy was the first to make a move. Forming a series of hand seals, Demon Chi, accompanied by profound spirit energy, instantly condensed into a strange beast that was over 100 feet tall. It opened its ferocious mouth, and a monstrous demon chi gushed out, trying to swallow Du Xiaofu. Demonic Sky Burning Devil Flame. 10,000 Miles Ice Devil. Demonic Wind Hell. Devil Thunder Explosion. In an instant, the Thunder Devil Envoy and the others moved together. In an instant, the 5 Devil Envoys unleashed 5 different attacks. The 5 Demon Envoys attacked with all their strength. A terrifying energy violently surged out from their bodies. Demonic chi surged as the 5 attacks enveloped the sky. A huge vacuum was formed in the sky, shattering the space and shaking the heavens. The 5 of them attacked at this moment. Their heads and tails were connected, and their teamwork was incomparable. Be careful. Despite sensing Du Xiaofu's powerful aura, Mad Sovereign's group was still on tenterhooks for Du Xiaofu's sake after seeing the 5 attacks from afar. Just the pervasive aura alone was enough to make them unable to resist. It made their hair stand on end. The space trembled violently. The 5 demon envoys did not hold back in their attacks. They sealed off all of Du Xiaofu's escape routes and distorted space. Moreover, the 5 of them attacked with killing moves. They did not intend to give Du Xiaofu any chance to escape. They wanted to completely suppress Du Xiaofu in one fell swoop. Du Xiaofu's eyes quickly swept across the 5 attacks. Facing the 5 demon envoys' all-out attacks, he did not show any signs of panic. The golden pung wings on his back flapped, overflowing with flowing light. Majestic light filled the air, like a pung spreading its wings, soaring to the 9 heavens. Pung descends to the 9 heavens. Boom! Du Xiaofu shouted, carrying the domineering will of the golden-winged Pung clan. It was powerful and domineering. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was like a real Pung descending. His domineering and terrifying aura overflowed the sky. He flapped his wings and swept across the sky. His domineering and sharp aura swept across the sky. At that moment, the 2 sides collided with each other amidst a rumbling sound. Rumble, rumble. The void rumbled like thunder, bursting with a series of runes. Demonic chi filled the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled endlessly. The runes shot out like gorgeous fireworks, causing the entire sky to be filled with resplendent light. Behind the resplendent light, there was a shocking destructive aura that caused the surrounding heavens and earth to tremble. Chi-la-la, chi. The stalemate did not last long. After the violent collision in the sky, the sound of something shattering could be heard. The space was crumbling. Under the trembling eyes of Kuang Zun and the others, the 5 demon envoys' attacks did not last long before they were destroyed like a hot knife through butter. The 5 of them together did not gain any advantage. The expressions of the 5 demon envoys changed drastically. 5-wheel blood demon realm. Thunder demon envoy shouted, his hand seals changing rapidly. At the same time, earth demon envoy, wind demon envoy, and the other demon envoys changed their hand seals at the same time. An even more terrifying and bizarre demonic chi swept out from their bodies like a storm. Finally, it condensed together and shot into the sky. Billowing demonic chi spread out, causing the void to tremble. Pillars of black and blood-red light that looked like they were condensed from fresh blood filled the air with a chilling aura. They covered the sky and covered the earth. Rumble. In a short time, the entire void seemed to have turned into the entrance of a demonic realm. Black and blood-red demonic chi surged, appearing from the depths of the sky. It was vast and boundless, as if it had turned into a huge void passage filled with demonic chi. The 5-wheel blood demon realm was the trump card of the 5 demon envoys. Sensing Du Xiaofu's power, the 5 demon envoys did not dare to be careless and use their trump cards. Rumble, rumble. The void rumbled. Pillars of blood-red light shot out from the monstrous demonic chi, bringing with them deep blood-red cracks that hung in the sky. The nauseating demonic chi poured out, accompanied by the shrill cries of ghosts and gods, and rushed towards Du Xiaofu like lightning. Such destructive power was enough to make an ordinary middle-stage Saint Realm cultivator retreat. It's just a forced increase in strength. Even if you're an early-stage Saint Realm cultivator, I wouldn't put you in my eyes. You're nothing. In the face of such a monstrous attack, Du Xiaofu's expression was calm. His golden eyes were deep, calm, and fearless. He was confident and domineering. Kuang Zun and the others were shocked. This guy was really arrogant enough to be so domineering in the face of such an attack. The terrifying attack destroyed the void and swept towards Du Xiaofu. The void collapsed, the demonic chi filled the sky, and the firmament shook. Du Xiaofu stood in the void, unmoving like a mountain, like a boulder, but his hand seals were already forming. Silently, with Du Xiaofu as the center, the void around him began to distort. A strange pattern appeared in the void, enveloping it. It was the void 8 trigrams diagram. In an instant, with Du Xiaofu as the center, the void 8 trigrams diagram swept out like a divine ring, filled with dazzling light and surging with all kinds of strange phenomena. Guangzun, 9 Lives Saint, and the others could not help but look up in shock. From the 9 heavens, a dazzling light descended like a sun, illuminating the dark space. Chapter 22:37. An extremely vast aura emanated from the void and spread out in all directions. It was like a holy light. Endless foreign aura spread out, causing people's souls to tremble. Around Du Xiaofu, a materialized void diagram of the 8 trigrams was completely formed. It appeared on the surface of the void, with wind, rain, thunder, lightning, mountains, rivers, and the sun, the moon, and stars rotating and alternating with each other. Countless beasts jumped out of the 8 trigrams void diagram, roaring silently. A bright galaxy appeared, dazzling with starlight and a vast aura. A golden-winged rock appeared above the 8 trigrams void diagram, flapping its wings and shaking the sky as if it could shatter the stars. A bright purple flame whistled and condensed into a purple flame demonic phoenix. It was like a living creature, blazing with heat. There was also a stalk of immortal grass and a stalk of nether grass, emitting a monstrous green light, full of vitality and an ancient aura. At this moment, the sky trembled and the void rumbled. Boom! A vast aura swept across the place like a storm. In an instant, Mad revered, 9 Lives venerable, and the others went limp under this silent pressure. Their eyes were filled with shock, and they wanted to worship and revere from the depths of their souls. Bang, 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 bang. In an instant, the 5 demonic blood realms formed by the 5 demonic envoys began to shatter, exploding from the deep void vortex. Demonic chi swept out with a trembling energy, turning a large area of the void into a vacuum. Boom! At this moment, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Ghosts cried and gods howled, as if doomsday had arrived. Du Xiaofu stood in the middle of the 8 trigrams void diagram, like a miracle. With Du Xiaofu as the center, the 8 trigrams void diagram swept out like a divine ring, emitting a bright light and surging with all kinds of strange phenomena. The 5 demonic envoys used all their strength, but no matter how much they used, they couldn't resist the power of the 8 trigrams void diagram. The 5 demonic blood realms shattered inch by inch, vast and mighty. Puffed. At the same time, the 5 demon envoys spat out mouthfuls of blood, suffering heavy injuries. The 5 demon envoys were horrified. Only now did they realize just how tyrannical the former was, and why that demon king had the name of Demon King. Retreat! Retreat! Laimo envoy shouted, and the 5 of them changed their hand seals. They wanted to retreat with all their might and break free from the 8 trigrams. But at this moment, the surrounding space was distorted, and a vast might could directly suppress the 5 demon envoys. You want to retreat now? Isn't it too late? Du Xiaofu's voice rang out. His hand seals formed, and the void suddenly changed. Suddenly, a star of lightning and rolling flames descended. As the world resonated, an incomparably vast and mighty strength surged out from the sea of resplendent runes, creating raging waves that swept towards the 5 demon envoys. Pu. At this moment, the 5 demon envoys, whose strength was not inferior to the initial saint realm, had their demonic chi shattered inch by inch under this terrifying might. The light dimmed, and the 5 of them spurted out blood once again. Their bodies crumbled, and blood flowed out from their bodies. With the 8 trigrams diagram rippling around him, Du Xiaofu was like a god in the sky. Using the 8 trigrams diagram, Du Xiaofu had no intention of letting the 5 demon envoys go. He activated the 8 trigrams diagram, sealing the void and confining the 4 directions. Using the 8 trigrams profound to step into the saint realm, this was Du Xiaofu's full strength. Legalism's initial saint realm old ancestor had also lost his body to the 8 trigrams profound. Laimo envoy, Earthimo envoy, and the others spurted out blood and retreated. Their terrifying eyes were looking at Du Xiaofu, and their eyes were trembling. A chill crept up from the depths of their souls. The 5 demon envoys were afraid at this moment, and their eyes were filled with horror. Under this terrifying might, Their souls were trembling. There was a huge difference between this Saint Aura and an ordinary Saint Realm cultivator. This Saint Aura was something they couldn't resist. Roar. The Earth Devil Envoy transformed into an ancient devil ape, while the Thunder Devil Envoy transformed into a strange lightning devil beast. Their terrifying auras were accompanied by flashes of lightning and rumbling of thunder. Compared to the Earth Devil Envoy's ancient devil ape form, they were in no way inferior. Windemo Envoy, Firemo Envoy, Isimo Envoy, and the others gathered their demonic chi again, and they turned into huge figures. Demonic chi surged violently, and it was extremely terrifying. Du Xiaofu raised his arm, and with a wave of his hand, a gigantic sword appeared in his hand. It was like the bones of a tiger, the body of a dragon, the body of a phoenix, and the body of a divine turtle. Wong Wong. When the sword appeared, a dazzling light erupted like an erupting volcano. Dazzling talisman runes soared into the sky. This was clearly the sound of wind and thunder, but it was like the roar of a demon god, causing one's soul to tremble uncontrollably. The sky was filled with purplish golden light. The purplish golden heavenly tower, the god of weapons, was peerless in the sky, as if it wanted to spread its wings and soar into the sky. That's the purplish golden heavenly tower. Mad Honorable, 9 Lives Honorable, and the others trembled. They recognized the purplish golden heavenly tower. At this moment, the pressure from the purplish golden heavenly tower was much stronger than before. It was far stronger than an ordinary divine weapon. The terrifying power was like the awakening of a peerless demon god overlooking the world, enough to destroy everything. Purplish golden heavenly tower. Honorable Weapon's eyes trembled. He was the one who made the purplish golden heavenly tower, and it had a special feeling for him. At this moment, Honorable Weapon felt that the power of the purplish golden heavenly tower had far exceeded his expectations. When he saw the purplish golden heavenly tower again, Earth Demon Envoy's pupil shrank. He had lost an arm to that terrifying divine weapon before. Oh no, that kid wants to kill us. Wong, Thunder Emo Envoy, and the others were shocked, and they were like wild grass growing in their hearts. At this moment, they felt a monstrous killing intent from Du Xiaofu, and it made them tremble in fear. Retreat, quickly retreat, retreat. Earth Demon Envoy and Thunder Emo Envoy shouted. Demonic chi erupted from their bodies as they tried to break free from the 8 trigrams void diagram and escape. You're just a so. You're still not a true Saint Realm expert. It's over. Du Xiaofu looked at the 5 demon envoys. He flapped his golden rock wings, and the azure spirit armor shone. He appeared in front of Earth Demon Envoy like a real rock in the 8 trigrams void diagram, and swung the purplish golden heavenly tower. Chi! Earth Demon Envoy's ancient demonic ape body was cut in half by Du Xiaofu's sword, and black blood spurted out. However, Du Xiaofu was a little surprised. The ancient demonic ape body of Earth Demon Envoy that was cut in half suddenly retreated rapidly and wanted to heal. It was very strange and strange. Destroy! Du Xiaofu shouted. The purplish golden heavenly tower in his hand surged with purplish golden lightning and directly cut off the ancient demonic ape's head. Black blood spurted high into the sky. At the last moment, the fear in Earth Demon Envoy's eyes reached its peak, and the aura of death surged in the depths of his soul. Pong! Du Xiaofu punched out with his left arm, and lightning flashed, smashing Earth Demon Envoy's head into a bloody mist. One of the 5 demon envoys, the Earth Demon Envoy, was killed just like that. Boom! Lightning flashed, and demonic chi filled the sky. Thunder Demon Envoy erupted, burning his life force. Accompanied by rolling demonic lightning, he rushed towards Du Xiaofu, wanting to fight with his life on the line. Du Xiaofu drew his sword, and the tyrant's sword Dao was executed. He retreated with unparalleled momentum, and the 8 trigrams void diagram destroyed the demonic lightning. The azure spirit armor on his body rippled with lightning, absorbing the aftershocks of the demonic lightning. He wasn't affected by it and rushed forward. The tyrant's sword Dao slashed open Thunder Demon Envoy's chest, destroying his corporeal body and Yuan Shan. Bastard! Nine Demon Emperor had been spying on the movements in the void. He knew the trump card of the 5 Demon Envoys. He originally thought that the 5 Demon Envoys would be enough to deal with Du Xiaofu, or at least delay for some time. However, he didn't expect that Du Xiaofu would be so powerful. The Earth Demon Envoy and Thunder Demon Envoy were killed, and he didn't even have the chance to react. Boom! Demonic chi shook the sky, and 9 Demon Emperor erupted, wanting to affect Du Xiaofu and help the remaining 3 Demon Envoys. "You better behave yourself," said Master Hualei. The sky was filled with crimson-blue flames and lightning. It was like a world of lightning and fire. The 9 Demon Emperor was unable to break free. Kill. Du Xiaofu didn't stop there. The 8 trigrams, quintessence suppressed the Wind Demon Envoy, the Ice Demon Envoy, and the Fire Demon Envoy. The purple Great Ping's golden wings flew across the sky, and the purple golden heavenly tower was like the awakening of a peerless demon god. In just a short period of time, under the terrified gazes of the 3 demon envoys, Du Xiaofu raised his sword and killed them. Pong, pong, pong. The 5 demon envoys were experts second only to the 9 demon emperors. When the 5 of them joined forces, they were comparable to 5 early-stage Saint Realm experts. But in a short period of time, they were completely killed. Gugu, Kuangzun, 9 Live Saint, and Qin Xing Saint were so shocked that their jaws dropped. They were dumbfounded, and their throats were boiling hot. 5 experts of the devil religion, equivalent to legendary Saint Realm experts, were killed by Du Xiaofu in a short period of time. How could they not be shocked? Kuangzun and the others had cultivated for a very long time, and their talents were also extraordinary. They knew how difficult it was to reach the level of the 5 experts of the devil religion. They were super experts of the devil religion and had experienced countless trials of blood and fire. They were great figures of the devil religion. But Du Xiaofu had killed them without too much difficulty and without paying too much of a price. He had directly killed them, domineering and fierce. They couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. At the same time, Kuangzun and the others were overjoyed. This was a disciple of the 7-Star Hall. If the 7-Star Hall didn't perish, they would have a successor. They would rise again, like the sun, and rise to glory. The purple gold heavenly tower was retracted, and the 8 trigrams diagram disappeared. Du Xiaofu stood in the void, clad in a peerless Saint Realm armor. Boundless Saint Realm aura surged, transcendent and domineering. Master Flamespark, you've thoroughly angered me. Seeing the 5 demon envoys being killed without being able to do anything, the 9 demon emperors were enraged. They madly attacked Master Flamespark. "What? Bite me if you have the ability," Master Flamespark said indifferently, as if he didn't care at all. "Greetings, martial uncles and martial uncles." Du Xiaofu arrived in front of the stone pillar and bowed to Kuangzun and the others. "Child, are you all right?" Kuangzun was still in a state of shock. He carefully sized up Du Xiaofu, finding it hard to believe that Du Xiaofu could kill the 5 experts of the devil religion and still be completely unharmed. "Disciple is fine," Du Xiaofu said, but his eyes were fixed on the stone pillar. The mysterious chains of black talismans were binding his master, Xiahou Fenglei. They weren't simple at all, and were very strange. Chapter 22:38. Child, your master is being restrained. This thing is very strange. 9 Lives Supremacy GMO said to Du Xiaofu. They were unable to remove the strange black talisman chain on the stone pillar, and they couldn't even get too close to it. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. This stone pillar was very strange. The entire Devil Sovereign Palace had collapsed, but this stone pillar was still as unshakable as a boulder. The chain formed by the black talisman chain was filled with a terrifying destructive power, and it was connected to Supremacy Xiahou Fenglei's forehead. Du Xiaofu narrowed his eyes. If he touched this strange black talisman chain, not only would he suffer a backlash, it might even cause his master, the weapon Supremacy, to die. But soon, Du Xiaofu noticed something. This strange black talisman chain was fluctuating with a strange energy. While it was restraining his master, it was also continuously surging into his master's mind. Huff! Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. Things were different now. Now that he noticed something, he had a rough idea of how to deal with it. Sizzle! Du Xiaofu condensed his handprint, and a silver-golden electric arc swept out from between his eyebrows. It instantly turned into a wisp of silver-golden rainbow, and instantly covered the black talisman chain on the stone pillar. Sizzle! In an instant, when the silver-gold electric arc came into contact with the black talisman chain, it was like a rising flame. A sizzling sound was heard, and a turbulent devil chi instantly swept out. However, when this devil chi came into contact with the silver-gold electric arc, it was as if it was naturally restrained. A white mist rose and then disappeared as if it was burned. Sizzle! The black talisman chain began to wither and spread to the spot between the eyebrows of the revered weapon. Du Xiaofu's handprint condensed again, and a silver-gold electric arc swept out from between his eyebrows and turned into a saber light, directly cutting off the chain. Crack! The strange stone pillars started to crack, and the surrounding rocks shattered. A large amount of devil chi violently surged out from the ground. Let's go! Du Xiaofu flapped his golden rock wings and retreated with Honorable Refiner, and the others. At the same time, he punched out with his fist. Dazzling golden light shook the void, and the stone pillar was completely destroyed in a rumbling sound. The venerable weapon was freed and stood in the void. The blazing flame and electric arcs on his body disappeared. His hair was messy, and there were some lightning flames in his eyes. Looking at the master in front of him, after being imprisoned here for so many years, his face was filled with vicissitudes. Back then, he was domineering and valiant, dominating the Central Plains, but now, his temperament was filled with sorrow. It was unknown how much torture he had suffered. Disciple is unfilial and has caused master to suffer. Du Xiaofu felt a lump in his throat as he knelt down on one knee in the air. He could no longer suppress the ripples in his heart. He had finally saved his master. Without this old man in front of him, he wouldn't be where he was today. The venerable weapon pulled Du Xiaofu up and looked at the young man in front of him. His eyes, covered by his messy hair, rippled violently. All these years, he had been imprisoned here. He knew how powerful the demonic sect was. He thought that he was dead for sure, but he didn't expect that his disciple would come. In such a short time, the immature child back then had already stood proudly at the top of the world and could kill a Saint Realm expert. Child! The venerable weapon's voice was trembling. His hair was white, and there were even some wrinkles on his face. But at this moment, the venerable weapon was happy for his disciple. It's you who has suffered. He also knew that his disciple had reached this level in such a short time. How could it be smooth sailing? How could he be comfortable? He didn't know how many hardships and life-and-death experiences his disciple had gone through. Compared to being imprisoned here, the suffering his disciple had gone through was many times worse. I didn't suffer. Du Xiaofu stood up and looked at his master, who had aged a lot. Over the years of imprisonment, his master had suffered a lot. His master's heroic spirit was now filled with vicissitudes. He couldn't help but feel sorry for his master. Ha 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 ha! The venerable weapon was a human venerable who had once dominated the Central Plains. Although he had suffered a lot over the years, his messy hair couldn't cover his spirit. He laughed. Good, good, good. After laughing and shouting, the venerable weapon's eyes were filled with tears. He was glowing with his former glory, standing tall and straight. In front of him was his disciple. His disciple had reached the peak and came to the devil religion to kill. How exciting and satisfying it was. Rumble. Suddenly, the vast formation below distorted the void, and there was a roar that shook the sky. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. The whole world was exploding. Bang, 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 bang. Finally, the formation began to explode. Heaven and earth were in a complete riot. It was as if heaven and earth were going to explode, and the universe was overturned, destroying everything. Roar. A dragon's roar shook the sky. A strange dragon soared into the sky. Its wings, which were hundreds of feet long, were like the wings of a phoenix. Blazing 7-colored flames spread out from its body, and the aura of a rock and an incomparably terrifying aura swept across the sky. The strange dragon was in the sky, and the dragon's roar didn't stop. It was suffused with light. The dragon's might was impressive, and it was dazzling. It was as if a divine dragon was in the sky, releasing an inextinguishable radiance. Then, the strange dragon's body disappeared, and it turned into a little girl about 10 years old. On her tender face, there was a faint golden brilliance in the depths of her demonic eyes. Her aura was overbearing, and her might shook the sky. Roar! The wind rose and the clouds surged. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Heaven and earth trembled, and the earth rumbled. A strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. A giant golden redbone horseape with a sparkling and translucent body stepped into the void. It was as if it had merged with heaven and earth, and it gave people the feeling that it was the beginning of heaven and earth. The redbone horseape roared into the sky, and its innate spiritual eyes looked down on everything. Its terrifying aura exploded, as if it could sweep across all directions and suppress everything. Then, it turned into a young man in golden robes. His facial features were sharp and handsome, and his golden hair was draped over his shoulders. He was thin and tall, and his eyebrows were thick like swords. Roar! Dazzling radiance exploded and drowned the void. A giant green light sky-shattering fox appeared, and its aura swept across the void. It looked as if it was about to pounce. Its giant tail was raised high, and its pair of terrifying green and yellow eyes were terrifying. Its bloody mouth revealed a row of sharp fangs, and the sound it made was like the cries of ghosts and the howls of gods. Such a shocking demonic fox then turned into a wretched old man, but his aura was so strong that it affected the void. Rumble! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, and thunder rumbled. Purple lightning soared into the sky, and the punishment of the 9 heavens. The dazzling purple lightning spread across the sky, engulfing the heavens and the earth. 2 figures stood in the void, and purplish golden lightning covered them. The killing aura spread out, and although it did not carry any killing intent, it showed the majesty of creation. It showed the righteousness of heaven and earth, and it was vast and mighty, punishing the common people. Following that, a tall figure stood in the sky, and the dazzling lightning armor was filled with lightning. There was a misty aura lingering around it, and it held a lightning spear in its hand. His hair fluttered, and the sound of dragons and snakes could be faintly heard. A beautiful woman stood beside him, and her dress fluttered in the wind. Lightning flashed, and her long black hair fluttered behind her head. She was as otherworldly as a fairy, and she looked down on the world. Rumble, pong 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 pong. The 5 of them stood in the sky, and the world below was constantly crumbling. Demonic aura filled the sky, and the universe exploded. Dark cracks hung in the void like an abyss, and the earth was torn apart, and the abyss shifted. It made the 5 of them look like a miracle. Wild Venerable and 9 Lives Venerable were shocked, and they could not help but take a few deep breaths. They rubbed their eyes, thinking that their eyes were playing tricks on them. It turned out that Du Xiaofu had brought so many terrifying experts, and the aura of any one of them was much stronger than the 5 super experts of the devil religion that Du Xiaofu had just killed. What a terrifying lineup! Venerable Weapon recognized Du Xiaoyao and Little Star at first glance. The Redbone Horse Monkey and the Variant Dragon, who were as young as them, had also stepped into the legendary realm. Venerable Weapon also recognized the Thunder Martial Vane. It was a middle-aged man who looked like Du Xiaofu, and the arrogant woman who looked like Du Xiaofu. Venerable Weapon immediately guessed that her aura was so powerful. There was also the Azure Light Sky-Shattering Fox, the legendary Saint Beast Realm. Ha 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 ha, Venerable Weapon laughed. How could he not be excited and happy when his disciple had such a lineup? His sadness was swept away, and his laughter shook the sky. Kid, you go first. I'll cover you. Fire Thunder Master's voice came, and the sky was filled with red and blue electric arcs, suppressing the 9 demons' emperor. Ancestor, be careful. We'll go first. Du Xiaofu did not waste any time. Huile Laozu was the strongest among them, and he had a way to escape. This was also part of the plan. He wanted to end the battle quickly, save the people, and then leave. Go. Du Xiaofu spread his wings, and the golden rock wings on his back covered his master, venerable weapon, senior martial uncle, wild venerable, and the others. He tore the void in front of him and immediately stepped into it. Du Xiaoyao, little star, Du Tingxian, Du Xiaojing, and the old monster of green fox followed. The space crack slowly closed and disappeared. Bastard! The 9 demons' emperor's angry roar resounded through heaven and earth. Demonic chi surged, and he went crazy. How could the 9 demons' emperor not go crazy when he saw the 5 demon envoys being killed, and Xiahou Fenglei, who was valued by the sect, being rescued, and those little guys leaving? However, the 9 demons' emperor had no chance to escape as he was entangled by Fire Thunder Master. He was indeed not as strong as Fire Thunder Master. Fire Thunder Master was neither fast nor slow. He just firmly suppressed the 9 demons' emperor. Fire Thunder Master, you provoke me again and again. Do you really want to die? Such a voice came from the depths of the void. An even more strange and terrifying demonic chi permeated the void. In an instant, heaven and earth turned completely dark. A woo! A jet-black pillar of light, like a black bolt of lightning, descended from the void, accompanied by the wails of countless living beings. It seemed to carry the world's resentment and evil spirit as it charged down from the domain of demons. Great demon, at least you can't do anything to me. Ha ha ha. Fire Thunder Master's face darkened. An ancient and melodious voice sounded. Red-blue flames and electric arcs filled the sky and resonated with heaven and earth. It was ancient and desolate and destructive. The vast and surging power created a stormy sea. It seemed to be accompanied by a faint sound of thunder. It directly swept over the black light beam.